Okay.
Do you want me? I'll just say good morning and welcome to everyone. And thanks for coming this Saturday morning to talk about club action planning. You've probably heard already, this will be one of our focus areas for us in the coming fiscal year. Our incoming Rotary International President, Stephanie Yurchik, was part of the core team to develop the Rotary Action Plan. So she's asking all of us at the district level, at the club level, to work on our Rotary Action Plans for this year. And if you've been into Rotary Club Central, you've seen that we've even reorganized all of our goals under the headings of the Rotary Action Plan. So as we set our goals for the coming year with our boards and our clubs, the action plan then becomes the actions, the strategies for us to move toward the achievement of those goals. And there should be a one-to-one relationship between those goals and our action plans. Those of us who were at PETS in Los Angeles, one of the questions was, well, the Rotary Action Plan has been around for a few years. What's new and different? And my answer to that was, well, what's new and different is what our clubs are going to do with it, what each of our clubs are going to do with it. The Rotary Action Plan is not magic, even though our theme for next year is the magic of Rotary. It's simply a framework, a way for us to organize our thinking, to assess where we are today in our clubs with regards to our goals under that framework, and where do we want to get to in our clubs with those goals under that framework. So many thanks to Benson and Naomi for organizing and leading this for us this morning, and thank you all for your time and your participation.
Okay. Okay. Hey folks, good morning again. It's Benson and Naomi and I will be sort of moderating this today, but we're gonna have some other people talk besides us. But let's get started. I'm gonna have Naomi kind of go over the agenda so you know when the breaks are and what we're gonna be doing today, and you know what fun is ahead for you. So go ahead, Naomi, and then I'll pick up after you're done.
Okay, so the purpose of this Zoom is to talk about how we can do our own action plan in your club. So it's kind of like train the trainer. So we want to throw out some ideas so you have something to start with on doing your own action plan in your club. So we're going to talk about what the priorities are and Rotary goals in the Rotary Club Central. So the 4 priorities are engagement, ability to adapt, expand your reach, and your impact. So Connie will be talking about engagement with your clubs. I'll do the ability to adapt, and then we're going to have a breakout. So the breakout would be about 9:50, and we're going to talk about strategic plans. What you can get out of a strategic plan, and is it working for you? Do you have one? And how can you get to the next step? Then we'll have a break at 10 o'clock. Then I'll do expand your reach. Paul Saito's coming in at 10:15 to do impact. And then we'll have another breakout on how you can increase impact in your own club and your communities. Then club experience and irresistible clubs will be Ted. He loves that because he's an irresistible ambassador. And then action steps with Benson. Now from 11 to 12, we're encouraging the president and president-elects to stay back, and we can talk about how you're going to do this action plan workshop in your club, like the design thinking processes, adult learning, how you can plan your workshop. Okay, so hopefully we can get through everything today, but we'll have some breaks. We'll have one break at 10 o'clock. Okay, Benson.
Okay, so let's start digging into the meat of this. So let me bring up the action plan slideshow here. Hang on a
So
sec.
while Benson's doing that, if everybody can put their club name after their name in their Zoom box, that would be great.
Okay, everybody can see that, right? Naomi, you can see that? Oh, good. All right, that's positive. All right. Okay, so let's talk about these 4 strategic areas, okay? Impact, reach, engagement, and adapt. And I'm gonna just give you a short history because as Ted was saying, Stephanie Erchek, who's gonna be our incoming president now, she was part of the group that put all this together about 5 years ago, and so we've been actually working at this for a while now. And this really came as a result of the mission statement that they put out about the middle of last decade, where we talked about, you know, we see a world where people unite to create lasting change in our clubs and our communities across the universe and within ourselves. So here are the 4 basic areas in which they want to focus on. So the origin of impact really came from polio. And so what Rotary experienced is that in the early 80s, 1984, when Rotary decided to take on polio, it basically was able to wipe polio off the face of the earth, with the exception of there's still a few cases out there, but the impact of that was huge around the world. And so where Rotary is going now is, as we go out into our communities and we're engaging and doing stuff in our communities, it's really about what kind of impact are we making in our community. So the sort of focus, even on the development of leadership within Rotary, it's been more about, you know, what kind of impact can you do versus what kind of power can you have. Okay, so that's impact. So reach came from membership. Right? So one of Rotary's things is always to really try to expand our membership, and to do that now we have to be broader and wider and get out beyond just the, you know, the regular group of people, because, you know, Rotary started as basically a group of white men, and then it gradually started expanding around the world. So now we're one of the biggest proponents out there of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So expanding our reach is really kind of focused on membership and developing ways in which we can expand our membership out there. Enhancing participant engagement really came from engaging people within our clubs. So if your club is kind of like my club, we have half or maybe 2/3 of the club pretty engaged, but then we have a little group that's out there that we don't really see them much. They pay their dues, they want to participate, but we don't really see them. So engagement is really about engaging people that are in your club, so that 100% of everybody's really engaged, because that's the whole reason why people joined Rotary in the first place, was to be able to connect with other people and to do impactful things out there in the community. And then the adapt part, adaption was really about how do we evolve and change in Rotary to stay current with the times that are out there, right? So, you know, a lot of people are surprised when they learn that Rotary just started admitting women in the early 80s. You would think they want to kind of like came around on that one a long time ago, but that was just part of their ability to adapt, because, you know, there are a lot of organizations out there that haven't adapted, and they're gone now. So when we see things like you know, new kinds of clubs, passport clubs, satellite clubs, special interest clubs, or environmentally focused clubs, that's all about adapting to different connection points where people can connect with Rotary. So that's kind of the origin of those 4. And so let me walk through really quickly these 4 broken down a little bit. So increase our impact like you see on the screens, about working together, developing practices and tools, and then measuring and sharing Rotary's positive and long-term change. You know, there's lots of ways in which you guys know, who know your communities out there, they can create impact. Because one of the things that makes Rotary really relevant is that, you know, people out there sort of depend on the government to supply all the infrastructure and stuff that we need to function, but government can't do that. They can't move as fast as an organization like Rotary, and so our impact, maybe it's not going to be huge, like, you know, putting up a big wastewater plant, but we're out there doing little things that help our standard of living advance. So here's an idea, here's some thoughts about increasing impact. And one of the things that we're doing in our district that is really a kind of a cool thing is our clubs are starting to work together now. So it's a lot easier, like if you go in with 2 or 3 other clubs to do a project, the impact is so much greater. We're even seeing clubs now pooling their money and resources together so that they can go out and now, you know, if you had $2,000 to work on a project, but if you connected with 3 other clubs and now you have $10,000, the impact can be that much greater. So expanding our reach too, and we were talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So, you know, I've always thought that culturally Hawaii is really set up to do this, where our culture is really inclusive, and so that's something that we really have working for us locally here in Hawaii. You know, we're gonna talk more through the whole year about different ways in which we can expand our reach. We can get outside of just the people that are within our clubs and start connecting with people outside and in our communities. So, like I was saying, enhanced participant engagement was really directed to people within the clubs, but now there's all kinds of ways in which we can engage people. Earlier this year, when the legislature opened, and I was down there on opening day, and I was amazed that actually the amount of other Rotarians I saw there. I think I saw Calvin and a bunch of other ones that are there, basically letting people know that they're participating not just in Rotary, but in all kinds of things that we can connect together. Okay, one of the things that you guys can also do is survey your members. We were talking about this the other night in the club trainers meeting, where there's a health check, and you can actually go and find that online. We might have it, I don't know if we have it posted on our website, but club health check to basically give you an idea about where people are in your club. Okay, so I'm gonna stop this right here and let me bring up one more thing because I have 6 more minutes, and so I'm trying to stay in my my time zone. Okay, all right. So really quickly, so if you wanted to go on, just Google Rotary action plans, strategic plans. You'll see that clubs have posted a lot of their stuff up there, and there's actually dozens and dozens of strategic plans that are out there, and you can look at them, and you might see some that are relevant for you. But here's just the easy way of, how do I put this into my club? Okay, well, first thing is you got to gather your board, and your board has to sort of be on this page where, all right, an action plan would be a good thing. And then, we should go forward and figure out how to do this. All right. You can also call a club assembly. Now after you put your action plan together, you're going to go back and get complete buy-in from your whole club. But you could have a club assembly, which will basically explain what the process is going to be, invite anybody in your club that wants to be part of that process. Now, I've done a bunch of these with a bunch of different clubs, and and people typically want to be involved in that process. So you could have, 10, 15, 20 people that want to be involved in putting together your club action plan or strategic plan, right? All right. So in its simplest form, right? In its simplest form, it's basically trying to figure out your why. Yeah, why do we want to do this? Okay, what do we want to do now? What people do in their clubs, that's sort of their defining mechanism, right? That sort of defines them, like, oh, you're the club that does the beer fest. Oh, you're the club that does the highway cleanup. Oh, you guys are the club that does this event, right? So our Rotary clubs, the way that they're put together, they're really put together as an action group, as a group that actually does stuff, right? So we don't just get together and have meetings and talk about stuff. The thing that differentiates Rotary from basically everyone else is that we're set up to be an action group, right? That's why we're called, like, people of action. All right, so what do we want to do? When do we want to do it? That takes us to the calendar right away. Who's gonna do it, right? What people are we gonna have within our club, or are we gonna connect with another club to do stuff? What are we gonna do with that? And then, do we have the money to do it? If we have the money, great, let's do it. If we don't have the money, now we're gonna fundraise, right? And so I've seen clubs put together their action plan just with these like 5 questions. Now, I'm going to walk you through at the end of this session something that's more detailed that talks about your club identity, what you want to be doing, how this thing is going to get set up in a timeline, how you're going to utilize each of the Rotary priorities to set up these goals, but you don't have to use that. There's no set rule that says you have to do it this way. If you get together and your board and your club says, oh, we just want to do it, do a simple, like, what do we want to do? Who's going to do it? When are we going to do it? All that. We just want to make it a simple thing. And so I'm going to talk a little bit later about different things or different ways in which we can look at these different strategic priorities, and we can basically adapt them to whatever our club is doing out there. So although we're going to take you through this process, every club has the ability to do it their way, in a way that works for them. The main thing is to do it, because there's a marked difference that we can see between the clubs that do have a strategic plan and they follow it, and clubs that don't have one. And you'd be surprised how many clubs don't have one. So this will be really helpful to you guys going forward. So any questions? You got about a minute before we go to the next thing. No? Okay. So typically I never throw out a question like, does anybody have any questions? Usually I'll just say, Tony, do you have a question? Okay, so that I know I'm gonna get an answer. But Tony, you look like you're good, right? You don't have a question. Okay, all right, good. So turn it back over to Naomi now, and we'll get on to the next section. So thank you.
Thanks, Benson. It's pretty cool to see people from all different islands, isn't it? So I'm going into some basic things. So, the Rotary vision was created by a lot of input, and the words were chosen really carefully. So the vision statement, together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe in our communities and in ourselves, is really meaningful, because if we can follow the vision and see where we're going, we can really make an impact for our communities. So over 1 million people shared their insights to come up with this. And so when you do your action plan in your club, you want to have input on what your plan, what your vision is for your own club. So this this statement was done in 2017, and then shortly after that, they did the action plan. So I want to share with you this little video that kind of visually goes through the action plan. Oh, wait, sorry, did I put the, I'm going to make sure I have the sound on so you can hear this video.
We are people of action.
And when there's a challenge to confront, people of action come together and make a plan.
Even as we continue to help address global challenges, we're facing one of our own. When Rotary surveyed people around the world, we found a big gap between who we are as an organization today and who we need and want to be.
Our foundation is strong, but Rotary is ready to show that we can grow and become even stronger.
So we established our new action plan as a roadmap for how we can think differently, be more inclusive, and become a stronger, more effective Rotary.
The plan has 4 priorities. We're going to increase our impact because now more than ever, the world needs innovative planning and proved solutions. We'll be more data-driven, not just serving communities and doing good works, but measuring what we do so we can scale up our successes. And share more compelling stories about the good we do.
We will expand our reach by welcoming new people into Rotary and finding new ways to connect with people who share our commitment to making our communities and ourselves better. We'll enhance participant engagement by making sure everyone who connects with us gets even more out of their experiences than they put in.
And we'll increase our ability to adapt, because staying ahead of change while staying true to who we are is exactly how we make sure we have the staying power it takes to lead a new century of change.
Rotary's action plan is ambitious, but we can do it.
If we work together on new ways to think, plan, and take action, we will bring our communities and our organization to new heights.
Our legacy is in the making. Ready to do your part?
Let's show the world what it means to be people of action.
We
Okay. People learn in different ways, and I thought I put a visual recap of the action plan for people who are visually learning visually. So the action plan is important for Rotary and for clubs because it's a guiding document that can help us pave the way for the future. And it's different for every club because every club has different priorities or different strengths and weaknesses and issues. So you want to develop this for your own club. So one way that clubs can really support this action plan is to develop your own strategic plan that aligns with the priorities. And you know, the research says that, and Benson said this too, and Ted, that the clubs with strategic plans that really work their strategic plans are the more successful clubs, and they engage their members because you have a goal, you can see your way forward. So you're utilizing the planning guides, the templates, all of these ideas will help you with your with what you do. So with the action plan, this year the Rotary Club Central goals are organized in those four priority categories. To get that citation, so it used to be called the Presidential Citation. Right now it's called the Rotary Citation. And in July, when the new year starts, it's going to be called the Club Excellence Award. And so to earn this award, you just need to be in good standing. So pay your Rotary dues and you achieve at least half of it, 13, by June 30, 2025. Okay, so you can, all of your members can go to the Rotary Club Central and see the goals. So the goals are organized now. It's you can see the goals now are in the 4 categories, and under each goal, each category, you'll see these goals. And these goals are to help you see what kind of things are important to Rotary clubs and help you with putting your plan together. So when you see engagement, these are the things under engagement, the goals that you can pick. So which ones are going to be important to you, and you can pick off the ones that you want to do and then achieve half of the goals, and then you get that citation. Okay, so enhanced engagement is about developing leaders, service projects, using the fellowship and action groups to expand your engagement. Then your impact is the service projects and major gifts, going into youth exchange. Then for expand your reach, do you have Rotaract clubs, Interact clubs, new member sponsorships, RILA? That's expanding your reach into different programs. And then ability to adapt is a strategic plan, online presence, updating your website, which is really important. And then considering looking at your bylaws. So really looking at the categories and trying to see what things are important to being a successful, vibrant Rotary Club. Okay, so when you go into your ability to adapt, and I'll cover that a little later, because right now we have Connie who's going to be talking to us about engagement. I'm going to stop my screen because Connie's coming in to talk about engagement. Connie?
Hi, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. All right. I got so much stuff on my screen. Hold on a second. I'm like trying to find out how to get there. All right. Hold on a sec. Sorry. Okay, wait. Let me get out of here. Sorry. All right, here we go. Can you guys see this?
Yeah, try
Yeah.
hit play from start.
Well, I'm trying to, oh, there we go.
Yeah.
All right.
See what happens when you listen to me.
I know it's rare. Good morning, everyone. Sorry for the delay.
Yeah.
I'm Connie, and I'm going to talk about membership and enhancing participant engagement. And congratulations, everyone, for making the decision to come today. Okay, so some essentials on engaging. You want to focus, you know, as far as membership goes, we always talk about attraction and engagement, but it's not just focusing on new members, but also delivering value. So we want our members to feel like they're getting value out of their membership. And how do we do that? So and this is some things that were already mentioned, and you'll probably hear it over and over again, but you want to find out what is important to our members. And you can do that, just talk story with them, get to know them, or conduct surveys. And as I think Benson mentioned before, and I believe Naomi did as well, we have a bunch of surveys, different ones, and you can be creative about it. You don't have to just like send out the survey and everybody fill this out totally and blah, 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 like the government. No, we don't have to do it that way. You can be creative. You can take portions of different surveys. You can just survey them during a meeting, during a board meeting, or just, you can do focus groups. Just find out a way to get to know what your members want. And you want to also get to know all your members, not just the new ones, but the current and potential members as well. And get to know them, talk to them, find out what they're excited about, what their passions are. I forgot to turn on my timer. Okay, and from that, you'll probably get a lot of new ideas. So onboarding is very important because your engagement with your members start from before they're even inducted into your club. And for instance, a new member orientation, you want to make sure that they understand what's expected of them and what they can expect from Rotary as well. And your induction ceremony, you want them to feel special, VIPs, make sure that it's a big ceremony. And then you have your red badge, your mentorship programs, those things also help engage new members right away. And that's what you want to do. You want to get them into a committee or into participating in a project ASAP. Okay, and remember I was saying how you want to get to know your members? Well, once you get to know them, you can find out what their passions are and implement new activities so that all the members remain excited. Because you can still keep, most of our clubs have like traditional fundraisers or the big events, or they have certain projects that they always do. And those are great. You can keep those. But what makes your club vibrant and exciting is if you add more things in. And you can ask your new members or some members that aren't as engaged, once you find out that they're excited about that, ask them to run that project or ask them to conduct that, to run a game during the meetings. But, try to find different ways that your members can stay excited. And you know what? At your meetings, and I know we have a lot of presidents and president-elects in here, do fun things sometimes. It can be just like a few seconds, but, kind of wake them up during the meeting. So like, for instance, this, I threw in this video here to promote our Go Cook 'em crew. Our club every Thursday mornings go to the Hawaii Island Home for Recovery and they cook for the residents. And so, I'm trying to promote this. So, you run a video, you take a short little video and have them, so people can almost feel like they're there, and this is, it's stupid, but that's what we do. We do stupid things sometimes. So, that kind of stuff. And not just your new members, but your legacy members as well. Our legacy members have so much to offer because they have so much knowledge, they have experience, and you want to encourage them to mentor and teach the newer members. And this, at the same token, everybody wants to be recognized, appreciated, acknowledged, and respected. And so you want to respect and acknowledge our legacy members as well. That's a great way to because a lot of times in our clubs, we find that members who have been in for a long time feel like, let the new guys do it. I had my turn. And so they're not as engaged, but you do want to still recognize them, make them feel like that, we do appreciate them and we honor them. Okay, so, and similar to what Benson was talking about, here are things that you can get together in your board or in your group or at meetings and talk about these questions. What is our club good at? What could our club do better? What keeps our active members involved? How can we better engage those who aren't involved? And how can our club build on what we're doing well and address challenges? So I bet you, if you're anything like me, as you're listening to the questions, you're thinking about your club, right? Like what can, how does this apply to my club? But these are great things to do. You gather up all these things and then you can form a plan. So some of the documents that you can use for engaging members, if any of you have, I'm hoping most of you have gone to the Knowledge and Learning Center on Rotary International website. So this here, best practices for engaging members, that is from the Learning Center. And if you haven't, please make it every effort to get there, because at the Learning Center, there are so many different topics for you to go through, and it's an interactive video that you can go through it. And it takes maybe about 15, 20 minutes if you just go through the thing, but you can deep dive and man, I've been down that rabbit hole. It takes like hours because you can go in there. There's a link to look at another subject. So you jump on that link on there. There's another link and another link. And pretty soon you're getting all this knowledge. So you can do it that way, or you can just take 15, 20 minutes and take the course and do it later. But you also engaging and keeping members and understanding why members leave. Those are two other documents you can check out. Like the understanding why members leave is interesting because that's the exit survey as a Rotarian is leaving your club. So what I did one year was, instead of, I looked at all the questions and I thought, why aren't we asking our members these things, while they're still in the club? And so I did a focus group and I had them, I asked some of the questions and got some interesting answers. And one thing that stood out was for our club, the members all across the board said that we don't spend enough time getting to know each other at meetings. There's no time to fellowship and engage. And so that's another thing that, we have to address too. So our club tried to address that by, having some meetings like a club assembly that we just do fun things and games and talk story. And so, those are things that you might not realize, like you, as president of the club, you're thinking, okay, I got to get my meeting. I got this information I got to get out and blah, blah, blah. But sometimes you just got to stop and listen to the members and they want to have fun. Okay. And here's a form that, the president-elects got at PETS. And we usually have some form like this, but it's to go over your membership goals. So you can fill these things out. So for instance, like, I'm sure you guys all know how to do this, but let's go over it. If say you have 40 members in your club right now, and I want to gain 5 members by the end of the year. So I want our membership to look like 45 at the end of the year. But you also have to take into consideration your average attrition rate. And that's just a fact of life. At the end of the year, we usually lose some members. So you take your maybe 3 to 5 years, whatever Ted decides. And then you take the number of members you've lost each year, add those up, divide that by the number of years, like 3 years, and say this club's average attrition, you lose 6 members at the end of each year. So you take your membership goal of 45, you subtract it from your current membership, which is 40, you add your attrition rate that is average of 6. And so 5 plus 6, you need to put in 11 new members to hit your goal. So sometimes we think like, oh, okay, I'm going to put in my 5 members and boom, I got my goal. I reached my goal. At the end of the year, you lose 6 members, so you're -1. So you always have to make sure and take into account the attrition level. Okay. So, and then you can fill out the rest. And I think you guys will go over that, right, Naomi? Oh, that's it. Sorry. So we have about 1 minute left. Any questions? It's kind of simple stuff. It's kind of common sense stuff, but it's like you actually have to do it. That's the only thing. All these things that we're learning today, it's not rocket science, but you actually just got to do it. That's all it is. And you got to be consistent throughout the year. Okay, I guess that's it. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a great rest of the meeting.
Was that me now, Benson?
Yes.
Oh,
It's-
okay.
It's you. Yeah.
Okay, so that was a pause to give you some time to do this poll. So just looking at who's got a plan and not, so it kind of gives us an idea of how much in detail we need to go into working out your plan. So Connie covered engagement, and I'm going to cover ability to adapt. As soon as we get everybody to answer this quick poll. Hey, so Ted, looks like a lot of the clubs do have a plan and they need to update it. So that's good. We're not starting from scratch. Okay. Okay, so let me move on to sharing my screen. So I'm going to cover ability to adapt, and with the pandemic, we were forced to adapt because we needed to do things differently. And I'm going to end the poll so it's not or I think you can move the poll out of the main part of your screen, right? So it's not blocking the PowerPoint. Yeah, Benson, can you do that? People can just move it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so the ability to adapt is looking at what things we need to do to get to that situation that you're in. So with the pandemic, we were just forced to do things differently. We had to isolate or quarantine. We couldn't meet in face to face. So we had to look at different ways that we needed to do our projects or different ways to meet. So a lot of us were meeting on Zoom. A lot of us were not meeting at all. So we needed to adapt to that situation. Rotary is always improving their operations to become more agile, more responsible, responsive rather. And they are changing the way that they do things. For instance, they used to have meetings where everybody from all around the world would come in. And well, first of all, that cost a lot of money, but then you've got people who might bring in COVID or other things to the group. So many of them are meeting on Zoom. And it's a lot easier when you're working on Zoom because you save time and everybody can get to that meeting on Zoom. So they're looking at ways to change things on the club level, governance, the committee structures, the way that they do business, because they know that there's only so much you have in dues, money to operate. And so they need to be adapting to the situation. And that's what we do in the district. We used to send a whole team to go out to the different islands to do this assembly. And we saved a lot of money by not sending out a lot of people. You saved a lot of money because you're not having to pay for a venue, pay for the meal. So we adapted that way for assemblies. Change is coming. They are talking about making district conferences optional, making Zone Institute optional. So maybe the training is going to be by Zoom. So when you think about how your club can adapt or needs to adapt, think about how you can do things differently. Small changes can really help to improve the way that clubs operate. A small change like getting people to order their food ahead of time and collecting the money for your lunch meeting ahead of time may help with the meeting, maybe starting at a quarter after instead of on the hour, making your meeting 45 minutes instead of 60 minutes. So you have time for people to engage with each other or time for working people to get to the meeting. So a small change like that can really help your operations of your club. So be more agile, think of ways that you can be more responsive to your members, look at new perspectives, new ideas, and really cultivate this culture in your club where people are able to share their ideas and not be told, oh, that's not the way we do it. And you continue to do things the old way. And it's really not working and you're only doing it because you did it before. That's the way we do it. But if it's not working, maybe you need to change. So we really encourage everyone to be relevant in this changing world and consider these small changes to improve your operations. Okay, so let me stop sharing and see if anyone has something to share on how you adapted to something in your own club. Kara.
Yes, so it's not an adaptive question. I just wanted to know the previous question you had, or Connie's, have you seen your action plan? Like, is it a document you share with your members or is it a PowerPoint? I'm just kind of wrapping my head around it because I don't remember seeing one in our club, and they might have, but maybe I missed that meeting or something. I don't want to throw Joni under the bus, but I want to know what other people do so that I can do something with the action plan in terms of the expectations.
Thank you. The action plan, strategic plan comes in different forms, and sometimes it's just in memory, and it's what you understand things, how things work, and how you're going to be doing things. So it could be just in your memory, unwritten process. Some clubs have actual written out plans, and then they put it in somebody's drawer. That's what Benson says. And we know this has happened. They have a really big meeting. They come up with these big plans. They write it out, and then they put it away, and they don't refer to it. So it can come in different forms. It could be on a napkin. It could be on a PowerPoint. It's just that people in the club had input in that strategic plan. Okay, so it would be good if you can ask around the old time members, do you remember having this? And it might be a good thing to start with that so you don't have to start with scratch. But sometimes all of that stuff doesn't make any sense anymore. You know, like when Kapolei had the taste at Kapolei, you know, maybe that doesn't work anymore. Okay, so it's up to you. Okay, hey Brian, your club has gone through a lot of changes and you had to adapt because meeting at the Royal was not working, right?
Yeah, we had to reorganize quite a few things because of that. I mean, the Royal Hawaiian basically didn't have enough other business to make it worthwhile for them to bring us back on Tuesday for lunch unless we were willing to pay something ridiculous like $90 a person, which of course wasn't sustainable. So yeah, so we found a new home for us. We've also had, speaking of adapting from the pandemic, we've actually had a strong history of hybrid meetings. I know several other clubs do the same thing, that have a Zoom presence and an in-person presence. And we actually have probably between 35 and 40 folks in the room, and then another dozen or so who are consistently on the Zoom. We actually have a couple of folks who, were it not for the Zoom, would no longer be members of the Rotary Club of Honolulu, where now we have, in fact, someone who's you know, major contributor to the club, does major things for the foundation, but she's in Phoenix. She comes pretty much every week on Zoom. So that's been good for us.
Awesome. Yeah, and people don't have to physically be there or physically being at projects if they support the club by donations or even moral support. That's still good thing because they are engaged. The Honolulu Sunrise Club had a category where you're a Zoom member, and the dues were like half the amount, but you never could go in person. But they did offer that as a Zoom membership. Anyone else have something to share? You?
We did a lot of Zoom meetings during the COVID stuff, and what we were able to do is get very interesting speakers from all around the world. We had people from Scotland, people from Africa, people from Germany, and that was interesting because they don't have to be here, but they have a message to give us.
And Hugh, during the pandemic, I know that you had some Zoom meetings, and people would go, maybe two people at one house would Zoom in together, right? So that was good too. And you know, if you have people who can't drive in to your meeting and they can Zoom at one location, that's another way to have that engagement and that sense of belonging to the club. Okay, anyone else wants to share? Katie?
I'm really proud of the 3 Lahaina clubs because we were forced to adapt, and because of our impact in the community with our projects, our fire-related projects, we have seen this increase in membership because people are looking at us and saying, I wanted to do something, but I didn't know what I could do, and I didn't think that I alone could do something. So we're really seeing a lot of interest, and I'm really proud of that. Now, on the flip side, it is presenting some real challenges as far as fundraising because we have a devastated community, and normally we would be talking to our small business owners about our annual fundraiser. And so at some point, I hope to put out to all of you about suggestions for fundraising.
Okay, thank you. Jay?
Well, two things. Number one, during COVID, the restaurant closed, and he did not open on weekdays. On Wednesday, our meeting, it just didn't pay for him. So he went over to church, and for a while we were doing Zoom hybrid meeting, very good hybrid system that we have. And we were, like Hugh, getting people from all around the world speaking. But people were offered to bring their lunch and they didn't. So we finally went over to a deli, or I did, and bring over sandwiches and seltzers and water. And people are coming in. We're getting guests again, not as many as when we were down more in the Wailea area than as opposed to North Kihei. And like Katie says, fundraising has been difficult, even though we're, on the south side. the people here, the businesses have been helping out, on the west side out in Lahaina area. So we have not been able to we did not feel it was appropriate to go to our local businesses and ask them for donations for that. We felt it was more important to support the Lahaina area and upcountry. So we don't have a fundraiser this year either.
Okay, Ted, you got any ideas?
Fundraising, there may be opportunities for online fundraising. There might be opportunities. My club and some other clubs have done a vacation fundraiser where you put together a vacation package and then you sell it to friends and family on the mainland. So reach beyond your island for fundraising. Those are a couple ideas off the top. And do smaller fundraising. Maybe you can't do one great big thing, but do a series of smaller things. Have a donate button on your website that people can set up a small monthly donation to your club to support your efforts. Those are a few ideas off the top of my head. If I can, I'll just add also to adaptability in our club. Back when I was the president of our club, this is pre-COVID, I observed, I believe Connie said, her members said, we come to the meetings, but we don't really have much social time. And I saw the same thing in my club. And so I proposed, we're a breakfast club, but why don't we once a month, instead of having a breakfast meeting, get together and do a pauhana? And actually quite a few of our clubs are doing that now around the district. And that turned out to be a great success. We had bigger attendance at the evening pauhanas than we had at our traditional breakfast meetings. And then we also evolved and eventually switched to doing 2 regular meetings per month. So the pauhana and then 2 regular meetings, and then giving us a week that was designated that we would work on projects. And again, there are other clubs that have evolved in this same direction of being more flexible, of not just focusing on the weekly meeting, but having a variety of activities and having them on different days and different times so that different people can be involved and accommodate it within their schedule, and that it's flexible for them to participate.
Yep. And your meetings can be different too, right? So I think Kara had her hand up first. Kara?
I'm sorry, because he mentioned that he had one meeting that was focused more on the membership and then a regular meeting. So there is really no minimum for meetings for Rotary. You could meet once a month, you could meet 4 times a month, or is there a minimum? Okay, so you could have a regular meeting, like Ted said, and then have a fun meeting, a get to know you meeting once in a while. Oh, I like that idea, because we don't have time to get to know each other.
And your meeting could be just that. You have no speaker. It's just time to get to know each other. Or it could be the project. That could be counted as a meeting. But Rotary says 2 meetings a month.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
At least. But if you're really engaged, you have more. And you can have a lot of socials. Okay, yeah. Connie.
Oh, hi. Let me lower my hand. One of the things I didn't have a chance to share this, but one of the things we did to help with that engagement part and getting to know each other and socializing is we came up with mini mixers. And those are, because we have a fairly big club, it's hard for everybody to get to know each other. So what we do is we just put out, ask for hosts or hostesses to host like a lunch or a dinner or something at some restaurant. We just have signups for like at the most 8 to 10 people, and they just get together. Everybody pays their own dinner. You sit down and a lot of times they bring their spouses who we never get to meet. And then we get to sit down and in a small group, just socialize and talk story. And so you can kind of pick and choose the group you want to go with, whatever, if you want to try a new restaurant, if you never spoke to these people before, it's a good way to do it. So just last week we had one, and Galen and I went, and it was just so interesting because we got to talk story with these people we don't ever get to talk with. And I've met them all. I just never got to really talk to them. And you kind of start brainstorming too about the club. And it's just fun just to get together. So that's another way you can do it with it's zero threat to anybody. New members that want to come, they don't have to feel like they got it, that everybody's looking at them. It's just some time to socialize. So that's another way.
Yeah, and you can socialize even on Zoom. Waikiki Club used to have a Zoom room open half an hour before the meeting so that people could go to breakout rooms and talk to each other. And Brian is saying that they have these little Paul Harris weeks or other things hosted by, and when you have a big club like Honolulu and Hilo, I think that's a really good idea. There's a district or a club in Arizona that was ready to fold, and they started that thing with Ambassador and taking small groups and really helping the members feel the belonging side. And they grew now to a really large club. So adapting, doing things differently, think outside the box. Vern, you can have the assemblies at a certain place and everybody sees it together. And then after the session, that's when you can talk with each other to come up with your own plans and talk about what was being said at the assembly. So that's up to you. You have full reign to do that.
Right. It just apparently before COVID, it was nice having across the state, I guess, district assemblies that would come here to the Big Island and elsewhere to meet other people across the district, other than at the district conference. So I've had that 3 times. Somebody brought that up. That's why I put it out there.
Do it. No, you can do it. And so we'll bring you the content with the people from all around the island, but then afterwards you can have lunch or everybody potluck it, and you can talk about the plans and what you've learned at the assembly.
Okay. So, well, I'm just saying it was the fellowship piece tied to the district that we don't necessarily get over Zoom.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but as Naomi says, you want to have a fellowship piece in your area, organize a fellowship piece in your area. That having some training online doesn't prevent you from doing that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Benson,
if I can just add, Naomi, in our whole zone, we are encouraged to be innovative, to try new things, to think outside the box. So there is no rule that you need to have a traditional meeting every week. There is no rule that you cannot have a gathering of 5 clubs to discuss what you've learned at the Learning Assembly. There is, there are a few rules in Rotary, but where we used to have a lot of rules in Rotary, we don't have a lot anymore. And particularly in our zones, we are encouraged, try new things. And some of those new things, back again, when I was the club president, I said to my club at the beginning of the year, let's try some new things. Some of them will work and we'll want to keep doing them. And some of them may not work, and we'll stop doing those. But we've got to try and innovate and continue to evolve and change with the community around us.
Okay, Benson.
Okay, good one. Thanks, Ted. Thanks, Naomi. So we're at the top of the hour now. So we were scheduled to do a little breakout, but let's take a quick 5-minute break. And then we'll come back and we'll go into a breakout right after this. So let's take 5 and we'll see you guys back in 5 minutes. Okay. Should we just go, Naomi, do you want to just go into Reach?
Sure.
Because we're scheduled to just go into that, and we can just roll the breakout into it. I think,
Okay.
yeah, I think it's because Connie talked too long and we got our schedule thrown off. I mean,
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
I put the timer on. I was under, man. Look at you and
no, you did.
Tony and Ted look so cute.
Yeah. Well, we're matching and we're trying to.
No, they're avatars. You see
Yeah,
their
they are.
avatars?
Oh yeah, I gotta make an avatar for
I
myself.
know, I gotta make one too.
Mine always comes out ugly. I don't know.
Well, you consider what you start with, yeah,
Well,
Benson.
yeah, I mean, there's that. Yeah, I gotta see what I can. Let me see if I can come up with something.
Oh, yeah, Naomi, that's cute. I'm gonna try to then. Where do you go to stop under video?
Yeah.
Video.
And then choose avatar.
Choose avatar.
Yeah. So it's Easter, right? So I can do my bunny
Okay.
ears.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, cow king.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Cow.
Come on, Alan.
Cow.
Put on the avatar.
How about no, this looks good.
What is that?
Like this is me right here. The fox with the
Mongoose. Mongoose.
mongoose. How's this mongoose? I look like mongoose.
Oh.
Okay.
How do you make your mirror my video? Turn on my avatar when I join a meeting. Mirror, what does that mean? Mirror my video.
I don't know. Maybe it's you come backwards.
There.
Yeah.
Yes.
We can see it like the back of your head.
That's
Okay, Alan, come on, put your face on. Woof, woof, woof.
So mirroring your video just changes the way you see it. I find it, for example, useful to have mirrored video because then when I raise my hand, it looks like I'm looking in the mirror, so it's more comfortable for me to look at myself.
So what do I? So I do. I put mirror. Wait. Let me check.
If you check the mirror your video, then it just changes the way that you look
to
yourself. Everybody else sees the same thing.
Okay. Okay, we all look so cute.
Can you guys, can we do this on the phone? I'm on my phone right now. Cannot ya? I'm trying to figure out where to find it on the phone.
No.
Yeah, I don't think it works on the phone app.
I wanted to do an avatar.
I don't think, yeah.
Eva has a special double image that she usually puts on there. That's pretty interesting. She's gonna do it. Watch.
Was that the avatar?
Yeah.
Oh, your double video you always do. You know how you have your double image.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll see you later.
Okay, we got another minute and then we'll get rolling. So what's gonna happen in this hour is Naomi's gonna start off and talk more about reach, and then Paul Saito is gonna come in, talk about impact for a few minutes. Then we're gonna do a breakout and talk about how to increase impact in your club. Ted's going to come in and talk about irresistible clubs, and I'll finish out the hour just talking about the action steps to get all this stuff in play. And so that's what's happening for the next hour. So everybody's back. Well, if you're not back, you're coming back. So Naomi, why don't you go ahead and take your section on how to expand your reach.
Okie dokie. So expand your reach is about reaching out to other organizations, other places in your community that is in your demographics. So Rotary is really committed and embracing the DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion in everything that we do at Rotary. And they've revised the statement, and it really reflects the stronger than ever commitment to being an organization that has values, that respects and welcomes everyone who is interested in and interacts with us. So they have a really comprehensive plan of action to achieve a meaningful DEI outcome for Rotary. So if we share our values with new audiences, create new ways to bring in people together to experience the power of Rotary, we can prove that we are an organization that is inclusive, engaging, and compassionate on behalf of the world. And DEI is not just age, ethnicity, sexual orientation. It's other things like socioeconomic situations. So think about in your club, are you too expensive for some people and you're excluding people? So if your demographics shows that in your community you have a lot of young people, you have a lot of families, you've got people that may be able to contribute to projects, and they could become maybe an ambassador, an associate member, a community core member of your club, where they're not paying full dues because they can't afford it, but they can contribute in different ways. So you want to look at your demographics of the community that you serve. Maybe downtown Honolulu is kind of hard, but you know that a lot of business people are downtown. So do you have a lot of business people in your club? So be more embracing and exemplify the diversity, equity, inclusion in everything that we do in Rotary. And then you look for new products, new participation models that you can share with people so that they want to join us and they want to take action with you. Our We Rotary Club is part of the Big Island group, but they have members from all over the world. They have members in the United States, but on the continent, but they have ones in Asia, in Russia, and they all come together to hear good speakers and share what they're doing in their community. So expanding your reach, what does that mean? It means that you have more people affiliated with Rotary, whether they're members or not. They can be participants, they can be partners, and that's how you can make an impact on things. Look at how your community is. Who are the power movers and shakers in your community? Are they part of your group? Are they your partners in projects? We did a project in Chinatown down in Honolulu, and our club, we have a lot of old people, so they don't do projects. So we had 7 people from our club. We reached out to city council. They brought in other community groups. They brought in American Savings Bank. And so we ended up doing a cleanup in Chinatown with over 100 people, and we only had 7 people from our club. So here, you don't have to do it with just your members. You can include other people, other organizations, even the Lions Club. They can participate with you. We did a joint project. By the way, Rotary does have a partnership with Lions International, Optimist and Kiwanis. And this is, I think, the 3rd year that we've had this partnership. So don't be afraid to do things with the Lions Club. There's no taboo on that anymore. So share your values with new audiences. Find ways to create and bring people together to experience the power of Rotary. It could be for a seminar. It could be for a project. It could be just a big community social, have a big picnic and celebrate something in your community. So help Rotary, help your club build these connections and reach new audiences and attract people to Rotary. So look at who in your community is not working with you. Look at who you might want to bring in as a partner. Community leaders, professionals who share your values. Look at how it could be a difference in groups of aged young professionals, gender, ethnicity. If you've got a group of a certain kind of ethnicity or race in your group, do you have them represented in your club? Okay, so Ted is going to do a whole series a whole track on social media. So you want people to know who you are. So he's going to help us with getting the word out about your community, about your club, and what Rotary can do and is doing for your community. So grow, diversify, create new channels into Rotary, increase openness and appeal of Rotary, and build awareness of what we do and our brand. Okay, so next priority is increase your impact. And is Paul Saito here? Do we see Paul?
I have not seen Paul.
Okay, Paul Saito is a member of the Rotary Club of Honolulu, and he is a past president, of course, but he was the board chair for Catholic Charities. Catholic Charities is a huge organization that helps a lot of different groups in our whole state. Could be kupuna, it could be homelessness, different groups that need help. So Paul has a lot of experience on working with these different groups and making sure that they have an impact on their community. So he's going to be talking about that. But so for now, maybe we can kind of share about how you can increase your impact in your club and in your community. How do you increase your impact? Or what impactful thing do you have? You know, in Kona, they have this meet and greet. Was it meet and greet or meet and eat? Meet and eat in Kona. And they've been doing it for what, 12 years, 15 years, 20 years? Vern?
I know it's been going since I came in 3 years ago. Maybe Janaea from Kona Club can expand on that. They're kind of the drivers here in the area, the Kona Club.
So this project that they have in Kona has been going on for a lot of times, and a lot of years, and they bring in other organizations to help them with getting the food to distribute. They do it at a school, and the community comes out, and you got to hear how thankful these people are for the Rotary to have this meet and eat. I think it's meet and eat, right? Not meet and greet.
Yeah.
That's correct. We have about 300 people we're touching. We have, I'd say, about 50 to 60 families come through once a week, every Tuesday up at the school. And the food's donated in, working through other people here in our community with Elks Club and some other organizations.
Yeah, so talk about impact, on what that impact is for his community, for the Kona side. That is huge.
So Vern, you posted that your club had just joined the Chamber of Commerce, the Kona Kohala Chamber of Commerce. Tell us what that was about, because that's really an excellent move. I know a lot of us that are on the screen in our business lives, we might be members of different chambers of commerce, but that's an excellent avenue to connect in with Rotary. So go ahead, Vern. What's been your experience?
Well, we have a club member who's out of the mayor's office who got us connected with the Chamber of Commerce. And so we put in our application and attended a couple meetings. There's one coming up at Manalani we're going to attend. And it's a great way to pass out business cards and talk about Rotary, because people invariably, they kind of know about us. And to me, it's a great way to make a network contact with other businesses here in the area.
Yeah,
Hi, this is Nastario. Speaking of the Meet and Eat program by Kona Club and Kona Sunrise, I guess you might put in a single umbrella, so to speak. It's about Rotary's fight for hunger, and every time we go out there, we see the same people. They line up 1 hour before we even start the handouts, distribution, and we see the same people all the time, and that really made me realize that this thing is really this community service project that we're doing is really helping a lot of people in the community, and it's really an eye opener to see the same people all the time.
Yeah.
And like Vern said, 300 people, 300 meals every time you go out there. So that's really making a big impact on the community.
Yep. Yep. Hey, Renee, you know, in Kapa'a, they work with the Boys and Girls Clubs and the restaurants. Renee, are you there?
Where's her name? I see also that John, I don't see John on right now. John Mitchell from Kaneohe was saying that they had connected with, or he went to a Lions Club meeting earlier this week. And that's another opportunity to connect with other community or like-minded groups, Lions, Kiwanis, you know, they're out there and, you know, trying to make impact in our community the same as we are. And, you know, we can multiply that impact just by connecting with people that we know out there. Now, I want to go back to Vern's comment about joining the Chamber of Commerce. The great opportunity in the Chamber of Commerce is, as you guys know that are if you're part of a chamber like I am, it's very much business related, right? I mean, you're there basically to network and to help to promote your own business. And that's why it's called Chamber of Commerce. But if you approach the people in the chamber, like I have, and say, okay, so is there a service aspect of being part of this organization? Is there a way, besides just helping ourselves, that we can do something that's good for the community? And so, at least in my experience, I've seen connection with the local Chamber of Commerce as a really good thing, because you'll find a lot of Rotarians. I know in our local Chamber of Commerce, there's a ton of Rotarians in there. So it's not really hard to sort of get them thinking about, hey, you know, maybe we could do something that's kind of service oriented. Okay, anybody else have had some experiences out there that could help, or, you know, put some ideas out in people's thought processes about how we can connect with people that are out there in the community? Okay, good. All right, so here's Ted, go ahead.
No, I was just looking around to see if we had someone from the Eco Club of Kaka'ako still on the call. I'm not seeing at the moment. But Tina and I worked with them last weekend on Genki balls, making Genki balls. And they've been a great spearhead for getting multiple of our Rotary clubs involved. We had participants from quite a few different Oahu clubs, in addition to the Eco Club, and partnering with the Alawai Genki Ball Project nonprofit. That's having a big environmental impact in Honolulu, and it's working with partners and multiple clubs so that it's a bigger impact than just one club trying to do something on their own. And we, if you were at the district conference last year, you know, we also threw Genki balls into the Queen Liliuokalani ponds in Hilo. So this is a project that can be replicated across our islands and different waterways as well.
Yeah, that's why the interaction between clubs is so valuable. So that Genki Ball project, how it got started over in Hilo is the Eco Club guys came over and were working with us up at the National Park doing ginger eradication. And so we just started chatting about, hey, what are you guys doing? And they're saying, hey, we got this Genki Ball thing. And, you know, our Hilo people thought, wow, this is kind of a cool thing. And so Susie Osborne took a hold of that thing and raised up some money actually to get all the stuff. And so now the Genki Ball thing it's a thing in Hilo. And like Ted was saying, that's something that could go, you know, anywhere, because we have waterways everywhere that could be positively impacted by that.
And I should have mentioned Naomi's club also
Yeah.
dedicated to the ball project.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the fun part's, throwing those balls out there, but making them's pretty fun too. So if you can imagine, you're mixing up, if you go back to when you were a kid and you're making these little mud balls, is what they kind of end up being. But yeah, hey, we're gonna have President Gordon over here hurling some Genki balls over here at Hilo here next month. So it's a good thing. Okay.
But talking about, I was sorry, I was trying to get Paul. I
Yeah.
know he said another meeting before this.
Yeah, no, he just logged in right now, so he's in the meeting.
But when you think about impact, look at what they're doing in Lahaina. And one of the really cool projects that they have in Lahaina is a vocational one that Honolulu Sunrise is doing. So what they're doing is reaching out to small businesses who've lost things in the fire, and they're buying small things. So $750 of equipment for a hairdresser or a plumber. They're helping them get back into business. And so talk about an impactful project. That is it. Katie, if you want to share some of the other impactful projects that you're doing in Lahaina, you want to take the floor now?
The first one actually that I can think of is that, as I mentioned earlier, we had relied on small businesses for donations for our silent auction. And so one of the first things we did, I would say late August, early September, was we called it Rotary Gives Back, was to support those small business people who lost their business, as a way of saying, you have supported us through the years, and now we would like to support you. And we did have checks for them, but we also said, let us know if there's other ways that we can help you as you need to pivot right now. Some still could do manufacturing out of their homes because they lost their stores, they lost their warehouse, etc. We have also done many mental health projects. I sit on that committee because by trade I am a psychologist, and we have looked into and supported music therapy, art therapy. What we've found as mental health providers is that the people who need to see you are not usually the ones who are first in line saying, pick me. And we have found that through the other kinds of therapies, they triage and talk story with people and then say, I know somebody who I think you may want to talk to and who can help you. So I'm starting to ramble, so I'm going to stop because I can talk all day about our projects.
And I think you've done 45 different projects in Lahaina. The second day after the first day after the fire, the Wailuku Club went out, bought stuff for fire victims, and delivered all of that stuff for relief. Right, Hugh? Yeah. They took action and did something impactful.
Yeah, we worked with the Boy Scouts who have Cap Malahia, and also the Boy Scouts organized guys to go and buy things and deliver. So yeah, we basically emptied our treasury, and now we're struggling trying to build it back up again.
But that's how you take action and you adapt to the situation and you do something. So that is a very impactful situation. And the Rotary, the Lahaina clubs recently had a community conversation where they invited the community to come and share their ideas, and they came up with 90 ideas. Now they have to go and vet them and see which ones we can do, because we can't do it all. But here they're reaching out to the community to see what it is, and from the user's point of view, what is it that we need to do? Okay, so Paul is here.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Norman. I was trying to get in on the old DLA one, and I was just stuck there. So sorry about that. So sorry, I was listening in, so I just really love the topic, impact, because you all know what makes an impact in your community. So, Naomi, I don't have to say anything, but all I wanted to add is that you know what would make an impact in your community, and you know what your clubs can do. So the key is pick a project that you know will have an impact that would benefit something like, our club, we picked building a park in Waikiki. And when everybody, when we originally pitched it, half the club said there's no way we can do it. It's going to cost way too much. But everybody knew the impact that it was going to make. So we just had committed people that said, we're going to do this. And once you understand the project that you can do, and you get the people committed to do it, as long as it's within your resources, you should try and take it on, because no matter what you do, you're going to make an impact. And if you have passionate and motivated people that are championing your project, you're going to succeed. And that's like all the projects I heard about helping Lahaina, and our Centennial Park. And I just wanted to mention, Naomi, that some of the things that Rotary started had significant impacts in the community and live on today. Things like the A+ program in the school, preschools, the Visitor Aloha Society that was founded by a Rotary Club, years ago, and now it supports the travel industry. So, those are the kind of impacts people working together can have. So that's all I want to add.
Okay, thank you. So, Paul, with Catholic Charities, how do you know what is impactful? How do you know how you can help the community best?
Well, you know what? When it's an organization that large and with significant resources, we looked at what Honolulu and the state needed. And the main thing that we felt from a Catholic Charity standpoint was we needed affordable housing. So Catholic Charities started our Housing Development Corp that's building senior housing and affordable housing throughout the state. So, we started it about 10 years ago with $800,000 seed money. And now it's self-sustaining. It generates enough income to support itself as a separate legal entity, and they're repaying. I left the board 2 years ago, but when I was leaving the board, they were close to repaying the seed money that Catholic Charities had put in, and now it's self-sustaining. I think one of my last jobs was to open a senior housing complex built in Mililani. So it's in Mililani, Mauka. I forgot the name of it, but it was 400 units of senior housing, phase 1, where Catholic Charities is doing phase 2 now. So, again, if you look at the resources you have, and Catholic Charities has a lot of resources, and you have dedicated people who are willing to put in the work and do the work. So we have a board, the Housing Development Corp had a board of volunteers, just like Rotary, who give their time and their expertise to the development of these projects. So we have engineers, architects, land use people, we have government interface people that all work together free to help bid on these projects, put together the projects, and present it to the state. So we've partnered many times with the state. But there's one development going on right behind Cathedral at 4th Street Mall. And Avalon Catholic Charities is partnering with Avalon Development, so Christine Camp, to do affordable housing in that area. So again, it's get the people who can help you, get committed people who will champion this project. And when you have the people and the resources to do things, you can do incredible things. So, I don't imagine Rotary clubs are on that scale yet, but that's what we did with Catholic Charities. We looked for a place where we could help the most and put a lot of energy and effort into it and got people who are willing to step up and help.
Thanks. But for Rotary clubs, don't think you can't do something big because you
Oh,
can.
yeah. That's why I give you the example of, well, the Visitor Aloha Society, A+, those are things that were beyond Rotary clubs. Even even the Centennial Park, when it was pitched to the club, everybody said, well, it's going to be $800,000 to $1 million to build. And we thought, that's a lot of money. Half the club said, there's no way we can do it. Half the club said, we'll quit if you do this. A lot of them didn't. Most of them didn't, which is good. But when we really got into the process and got architects to step up and help, and designers, and we realized there was way more than just a weekend service project. We had to go through the Department of Planning. We had to go through SHPT, the Historic Preservation Society. We had to do all these surveys because there was a historic berm that runs right under the park in Waikiki, and we had to find that. So we hired sonar people to sonar the ground so we could lay out where that berm was. There was lots of things that added to the cost. So the final cost came out to about $3 million. And that's $3 million with about $3 million discounted and free work provided. So, again, we got a lot of volunteers. Most of the people that signed up to help us significantly discounted their costs. I think Hawaiian Dredging was our main partner that built it, and they discounted their costs significantly. Every single vendor who built things, like the rock wall vendor that just put in the rock wall, discounted their fees by about 25%. So it was really a community effort. So
Yeah.
it's right. So it's, if you dream big, I always tell my kids, if you dream big and you miss, you're still going to be somewhere big. If you don't dream big and you hit things, you're going to be successful. But if you dream big and you hit things, you're going to make a significant impact. Then, I think Centennial Park is an extreme example of that.
Mhm.
And, I want to thank all the clubs because, Rotary in Hawaii helped us, or helped significantly to raise funds for that project. So we're almost done. We still have phase 3 to go, and that's the lights and the stools and raising the performance mounts. So thank you very much.
Yeah, and that was the Honolulu Club that did that huge project, but Hanalei Club did Kapuna Park in the Princeville, and that they did it by themselves. I mean, they got donations, but they got $175,000 from AARP, and the whole park is about, I think, $400,000 that they did, and the park is in existence right now.
Very good. Yeah.
So don't think that you can't do it, because you can get partners. Okay. Benson, where are we?
Well,
sorry.
we're gonna go to Ted, probably because to stay on schedule. But did you have something else, Naomi?
Well, Ted put in the chat that they started the Rescue Tube project, and that Rescue Tube project is has saved a lot of lives. So that was an impactful project as well.
Yeah, we did a Rescue Tube project over in Hilo too. So, more important than the money, what Paul's statement is absolutely correct. In Rotary, it's not really the money, because Rotary has resources or can connect with resources. The main thing is you need a driver. So who's going to drive the project, whether it's an individual or it's a group of people. So if somebody wants to do a project in your club that says, hey, I have this idea about this project, and they're willing to be the driver, meaning they're going to drive this thing all the way until it gets done, that's the main component, is you need a driver. And as far as resources go, you'd be surprised, man, the impact of Rotary's reach out there. the people that we're connected to, the people that we know, like Paul was saying, hey, everybody that came in on the project discounted whatever they were gonna, whatever their thing was on the project simply because it's Rotary. So, you know, when Rotary asks, it's kind of a different deal. So, okay, so we're gonna try to keep ourselves on schedule. We actually just talked right through our breakout, which is okay because I think everybody's picking up some stuff. So, we're gonna turn it over to Ted now, and Ted's gonna talk a little bit about irresistible clubs, and then I'll follow him and talk about how to put the action plan into action. Okay, Ted, it's all yours.
Thanks, Benson. How long do we have for talking about irresistible?
Yeah, about 10-15 minutes in there.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries.
Perfect. So our incoming Rotary International president, again, says there are 3 simple ways for us to grow Rotary membership. And why do we care about Rotary membership? Well, one of the reasons is we can have more impact if we have more members. We have more projects. We can have a stronger public image if we have more members and more impact. If we have a stronger public image, we attract more members, we have a bigger impact. So those 3 simple ways of growing our membership are what? 1, attracting new members into our clubs, our existing clubs. 2, keeping the members that we have in our clubs. And 3, well, let me stop there for a moment. We're actually very good at attracting new members to our club. At Rotary International, globally, we bring in 150,000 new people every year. The bad news is we lose 150,000 people every year. So keeping the members that we have in our clubs. And the 3rd way that we grow our membership is by starting new clubs, new kinds of clubs, satellite clubs, cause-based clubs, service impact type clubs. So Stephanie has actually labeled me and the rest of the district governor-elects around the world as her irresistible class of district governors, because she's challenging all of us across Rotary International to think about how can we make our clubs irresistible. And she does that really targeting the first 2 areas of growth in membership, attracting new members, keeping our existing members. So how do we make sure that our clubs are irresistible to prospective members, to people in our communities who are not already part of Rotary? And how do we make sure that our clubs are irresistible to the people who are already in our clubs, that they wouldn't even think about leaving the Rotary Club? Or as Benson likes to call them, they're the lifers. They've signed up for life to be in Rotary. And they're going to be in Rotary until they're carried out in a casket. So let's start first with those people in our community who might be prospective members. Maybe I've just moved to your community and I'm looking for a way to get involved in the community. How would I learn about your club? How would I discover your club? What are some ideas?
Look on a website.
I'd look for a website. I'd do a Google search for service clubs in my area or Rotary clubs in my area. And then I'd go to your website. If I go to your website, would it look irresistible to me? Would I look at your website and say, oh, gee, I need to call these people? Kara.
Well, I think getting your stories out in the newspaper. People still read the newspapers. And if you do an impactful event, it's kind of, in my opinion, if you start something like in October, but it doesn't get finished till May, show the complete story. So like if you fundraise in October for, let's say, scholarships, and you've got a scholarship recipient in April, show that whole story. So people go, wow, look at that. You get to finish in the end. And yeah, it makes you irresistible.
Yeah, yeah, great, couple of great points there. One, PR. So be in traditional media, in the newspaper, on television, on your radio stations, and also storytelling. Tell our stories, our people of action stories. What is the impact that we have? Why did we do that project? Who else was involved? What was the result of that project that we did? Great points. What else would I look at to discover your club? Jay.
Well, we do the rescue tubes and all, and you have the Rotary name on that. The projects that you do, if you put the Rotary logo on it,
yeah,
that's the way people see it when they're, walking along the beach, things like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, so I have the Rotary logo. I use the Rotary brand, and that's associated with the projects that I've done. Maybe there's a plaque. What else?
Wearing the Rotary shirt around.
Yeah, Jay, wearing a Rotary shirt. I go to help out on a project and I wear a Rotary shirt, or I go to Costco and I'm wearing a Rotary pin or a Rotary shirt. It's a conversation starter. People stop and ask me, what is this Rotary thing? What else? How else are people going to discover your club?
Social media, especially for the kids.
Great, yeah. Brian, today the average person spends 2.5 hours per day on social media. So if we're going to reach people where they are, one of the places where they are a lot of the time is social media. So if people are on social media, is your club going to be discovered? Are you posting about what your club is doing? Are you showing your members having fun? Are people going to find you when they're out spending their time on social media? How else might people discover your club? Any other ideas? Kara?
You can.
I'm sorry, I saw Kara's hand first.
It's okay, you can go.
Or Katie? Did you
I
have
was
something?
going to say, you really can't ignore word of mouth. If you have an exciting program, an exciting speaker, to put flyers out in the community. We don't have our Lahaina news right now, but putting those flyers out, we had two guests come to our last meeting who actually live in the building where we meet. And ironically, we hadn't thought of that. So, we have a captive audience right there. So, word of mouth is important too.
Yeah, definitely. What about, we talked about in our impactful projects, working with partner organizations. As we work with those partner organizations, people may get interested in Rotary and learning more about our club. Maybe they would be a good fit for Rotary, in addition to volunteering on that impactful project that we helped out on. So now let's say, oh, sorry, Alan, did you have another idea? Yeah.
Yeah, one last one, or not. Anyway, my comment is that I work with the military. Hickam Pearl Harbor, we're supposed to specialize in military, so we have a lot of military dependents and members. But I have a connection with the military for volunteers, so every time I have a big project, we ask for their help, and they're willing to come up. They've done a packing project with us, Kahawiki. I had 30 people show up and only 3 of our members supervising, which worked out well, because we just wanted to stay out of their way, because they have a lot of people, they have the leadership, they can do stuff. So that kind of stuff, I think, is always good to have an organization that'll always bail you out when you need volunteers.
Uh-huh. Yeah. involving people from the community. So now I've discovered your club. You look like you have a lot of fun together. You're having an impact in the community. So now I've contacted you and you've invited me to your club to your club meeting or your club project. What's going to make me compelled to visit compelled to join your club after I come to that first meeting or project? What are some things that would make me want to join? Tina?
I think you have to be very welcoming to them and you know, say, welcome to our club. This is what we're going to do today. Sit next to me, have a seat for them, make them feel special, introduce them when it comes time to introduce them at your meeting and really make them feel important.
Right. People need to have a personal welcome. Maybe you have a greeter. The greeter introduces them to people in your club. You want to start forming those connections right away. Connie?
You have to make sure and follow up, because I think that's the main thing that our clubs don't do, is follow up with the people that attended, the guests that attended the event. And not just one time. You have to periodically follow up, because that will it might not be the right time for them, but a year down the road it might be. Don't drive them nuts with tons of emails, but you know, every once in a while invite them to something they might be interested in. But follow up, that's the main thing.
Yeah. Very important point. I've heard stories of people who said, people asked me, well, why haven't you joined Rotary? And their answer was, well, nobody's asked me yet. So you got to do that call to action. One of my learnings in social media is people only do what you ask them to do. You cannot assume that they will take an action. So if they're there, they seem to be forming connections, they're interested, you need to ask them, would you like to join our club? Because they may not feel bold enough to say, hey, I want to join you guys. But if you ask them, they might be more than willing to do that. What about I'm a young person and I come to your club and you have a lot of older members? How would your club be more irresistible to me?
When I become president at the end of May, she's going to stop interning for a representative because she's a poli-sci major. But she said, Mom, I'm going to help you. I want to become a member. I've always watched you do things in the last couple of years and I'm interested. So what I did is I gave her a job. I said, well, you're going to take over social media. She already volunteers, but give them in my opinion, give them something that they're good at. And young kids love to share their stories on all the different platforms. So that's what I'm doing with my daughter. I'm putting her to work.
Mm-hmm. Great. What about Connie? You had another thought. Yeah.
Oh no, I was just giving a thumbs up.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. What about making comments about their age and saying, oh, good, we need some young people because we're not able to do a lot of the labor ourselves anymore? Is that going to make you feel good about joining that club? Probably not, right? Jay?
I try not to mention how many past presidents we have, how long we're in the club, in Rotary. I try not to mention that when we first meet new members, young or old. We don't want to show that, you know, you're coming in, even though you're not old, you know, not young, that, you know, you're going to be someone who's brand new. They know that. They don't need to hear that. So don't say, oh, you know, I've been in Rotary 50 years and things like that. I try to avoid that. They could find that out later on, but
right.
You know, welcome them and, you know, don't say, oh, you're this age of my kids or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. What if they start throwing out some new ideas, some new ways of doing things? how would your club be irresistible when they do that?
They should welcome it. Welcome thoughts.
Listen.
Listen, yeah. Listen.
As Kara said, say thank you and put them to work.
Uh-huh. Say, hey, that's an interesting idea. Would you like to lead that for us? Would you like to get a team together to make that happen? Instead of a response of, well, we've never done it that way, or we've never done that before, or we don't know how to do that.
Let me give you an interesting sort of story here. When I ran a rocket factory, the third level of question was always, well, Wernher von Braun did this. Well, that was interesting, but that didn't apply today. So, going back in history doesn't always work. You just have to accept what it is today. There are different things, different ways to do things.
Right. Right. We want to honor the past, but we want to create the future. So those are all great ideas. I think I'm already running over the time that Benson gave me, but you all had wonderful ideas. I think those were all very good points. And I also want to just highlight and re-emphasize the whole discussion that we had under Connie's leadership about engagement. Because when we talk about being irresistible to our existing members, it's all the things that we talked through with Connie about feeling like we're included, feeling like we belong in our clubs, feeling like we add value and that other people value us. So thank you all, the great ideas, and back to you, Benson.
Okay, Ted, thanks a lot. And I do want to follow up on Connie's statement about following up, because before we had that mechanism in place in our club, people would visit our club and then they'd go to Connie's club because they're trying to figure out which club. And because Connie's club followed up, they ended up in Connie's club. So we don't allow that to happen anymore. So somebody comes to our club, we just got to follow up right away. And
But we don't compete, do we?
yeah, no, we don't really compete, but I just see people come to our club and they end up in Connie's club. So all that means is that we have to do a better job following up, which we do. So, okay, so here we go. So let me just kind of go over in our last few minutes that we have left this strategic planning guide. Now, this has been in use for like a long time. I don't know how long, Naomi, but it's been in use for a long time. And it's a form that we'll have available on our website. So if you want to try to find this, and if you're a person that that feels more comfortable putting together an action plan with a form, because some of you asked like, okay, is there a form to do that? Is there a formula? Here it is. Okay, so Rotary's basically put the strategic planning process, the overview, and it's kind of 4 phases. Basically, it's one, determine your status, like how's our club doing? And we talked about doing the club health check. You can survey your club. You can have a club assembly and talk about where your club is at. What's our club's identity? What are we, what are we known for? Okay, so that's phase 1, basically determining the status of where your club is at, and then the next stage is to develop a vision about what it is you would like your club to be, or the things you would like to do. That's sort of phase 2, and I'll scroll down here and you can see how you can write all of this stuff down. This is one of these old-fashioned forms where you actually write stuff in. And then you have something sort of at the end of it. Okay. And phase 3 is basically you make the plan, how do we achieve this this vision that we've put together for the future of our club, for what our membership's going to look like. And like I said, if you go on, if you just Google Rotary strategic plans, man, there are just dozens and dozens of them from all these different districts and clubs. Apparently, it's a cool thing to make your strategic plan and post it on the internet so that other people can see it. So if you're thinking like, all right, well, what does that look like? Here's one version of it. but if you Google it, man, there's dozens and dozens of them. Read through them. They're all, some of them are really, really actually pretty kind of cool. And then phase 4 is really to monitor the progress of your goals. And so I think a lot of clubs do a really good job in phase 1, 2, and 3, but where they really fall down is just tracking the progress of all of these goals that you put out there. And so if you're wondering, all right, well, whose job is that? It's really the job of the board. So when you have your initial meeting with the board and you guys decide, hey, we're gonna do a strategic plan, we're gonna do an action plan. When that is finished, you don't put it in somebody's drawer. What you do basically is you turn it over to the board, and now it's the board's kuleana, their responsibility now, every time they meet to say, okay, here's the goals, how are we doing with it? You know, what things do we need to do more of? Do we need to less of? And then, you know, the action plan, it's like a business plan for those of you guys that are in business, which means it's really kind of a dynamic document. So, you know, all of the stuff that you set out to do at the beginning of the year, maybe as you're getting through the year, you're finding, okay, well, that's not going to be doable, or we're going to need to adjust it to go a certain way. You can adjust, like it says in that column, adjust your action plans. Okay, then it just walks you through each of these steps. And like I said, if you want to get your board or your committee, or even, you know, how many ever club members you want, you can start walking through this. Phase 1, like I said, determining your status. How's your club doing? Now, this is all stuff that you do before you set goals. Decide what's your strength, what's your weaknesses, what are the opportunities, what are the challenges that you have there, okay? And you can, here's the space, so you can actually write them down. So I know, like me, because I don't write much, my handwriting's become illegible. So but you know, like somebody like Connie, she still has readable handwriting, so you can invite her and she can write it all down for you. Okay, what's your strengths and weaknesses? What are your opportunities? What are your challenges? It'll walk you through phase 2 as well. Here's phase 3, how to make a plan. And then at the end here, so here's your strategic priorities, right? So you can write here, expand our reach, right? So what are going to be our annual goals? What are going to be the actions? What resources do we need? Who's going to be assigned? Remember, I was talking about you got to have a driver, right? And so the member assigned is who's going to drive this thing, right? Because I know everybody on this meeting has been in the same kind of meetings as me, where you have this really big meeting and everybody gets all excited, but the project isn't assigned, like you don't assign specific tasks to people. So you end up coming to the next meeting and you're just doing it all over again because nobody was assigned any tasks as far as, hey, follow up on this, you know, by the next meeting, so-and-so is going to check on the venue because we're having this event. And then you can, so here's where you list your priority 1, could be expand our reach. Priority 2, increase our impact. Priority 3, increase participant engagement. And then priority 4 is how do we adapt? So you can, like I said, write all of these down. It shows you how to basically how to track your progress. You go through that, you know, one more time, and then you actually have this document. Now, like I said, if this document works for you, you can use it. But honestly, if you just got out a piece of paper and just answered those quick questions like, all right, who are we as a club? What do we want to do? Who's going to do it? When we're going to do it? And then do we have the money to do it? And that's going to dictate your budget, or it's going to flip you into, all right, now we got to do some fundraising because we don't have the money to do what we want to do. So, okay, I know that was quick. It was fast. We just zipped through 2 hours. I know it's hard to believe because I know you guys are having fun and would like to continue another hour. But Naomi and I are gonna stay on. And for those of you who are presidents or president-elects, that would like to have, more detail or ask more questions about specifically how to put an action plan together, and then implement it into your club to get it working. We're gonna hang around the next hour and talk about that. So, Naomi, you have anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, anybody who wants to stay on can, and we'll talk about adult learning and how to have a good workshop in your club. But if you're leaving us, before you go, I wanted to let you know that there are some grant opportunities open right now. So there is one for Micronesian projects, $500. There's still more money available for that one. Then we have a second round of district grant money available. So if you want to get up to $1,000, no match for a project or a project that you already have, you can either give us a new application as first come, first serve, or if you have a project already and you didn't get enough grant money and you want $1,000 more, you can just let us know that you're going to increase it another 1,000. Okay, but first come, first serve on both of these things. If you need money, this is the way to go. You don't have to do any fundraising. Just put in your notice. Okay, so send it to grants@rotaryd5000.org.
Okay, thanks for that. Thank everybody for attending today. We're going to take about a 5-minute break. So if you want to hang on and go with us another however long we go, that'll be great. And if you have to sign up for today, we appreciate the 2 hours you just invested into Rotary, because all of this stuff pays off, and you may not see it right away, but over the past few years, I mean, just our focus on getting regular training out there, I mean, it's impacted our district significantly. So we appreciate that. Okay, so we're gonna take a 5-minute break, and we'll be back in 5 minutes, and we'll go forward with anybody who wants to do it. Okay, thanks.
Naomi, I have a question. Are you going to take a quick break?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so it's about that $1,000. So you said to send it to grants.
So it's the same email address that you use for your grant applications, grants@rotaryd5000.org.
Oh, because I never sent it. It's usually Arlene who's doing it. That's why. So I can just tell her to read it. Okay, so I have a project. It's a continuation from Nepal. So you know how we went in December? And then I noticed in the classrooms that I taught, they had pukas in their whiteboards. So I just replaced 3 whiteboards. And then I'm still in touch with Ramesh, and we are giving them $750 to use for it to smart TVs for the elementary schools. So they'll have they'll run the classes through. It's going to help them with their curriculum. The one thing that he wanted, and I didn't realize he put that in a text, and when I wrote the proposal, I overlooked it. And what it was equipment, like athletic equipment, volleyball or badminton for the kids to play, balls, like that. So I'm going to try to go ahead and try to get that $1,000 so they can buy the playground equipment, because you remember at the schools, there's not a whole lot of stuff that they have for playing. In fact, at one school up in the mountains that we went to on the way back to Kathmandu, they used a little weed thing for their hacky sack. I still have a picture of the girls. So I want to go ahead and try to get the $1,000 then. So I'll talk to so what do I need to do?
Okay, so the application that you used for your other grants, you use the same application, and so it's no match, yeah? So you just put your $1,000 in and put what you're going to buy in there. And my suggestion is to connect with some soccer groups, because at the end of the season, they have leftover, they're used shirts and balls and things, and have somebody take it over to Nepal.
Good idea. Okay, but do the same application, just add on the $1,000 and then the playground or the athletic equipment.
Yep.
Okay.
So do it soon, because it's first come serve.
I know. Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, good. So I guess everybody is here or wants to be here, so that's a good thing. Because you always want to, be where you want to be. So you want to start, Naomi, you want to talk about adult learning now? Or where would we want to start here? Because we can go a lot of different places. Okay, go ahead, Alan. You had a question? Yeah, maybe we'll start there. You have any questions? Yeah.
Yeah, I got a real quick one because I've got to run, but
Okay.
we're planning a strategic meeting in a couple months. And I remember once that we used to have facilitators to help with that strategic meeting,
Yeah.
especially us being a young club.
Yep.
And, I was president 20 years ago. That was before most of us were born yet. But anyway, so things have changed. So I don't want to provide that much direction. But, it would be nice to get a facilitator to kind of guide us along, being such a new club and open to new ideas, new directions.
Yeah.
What do you think? And who
Yeah,
does?
no. Well, either Naomi and I can do it. There's other people out in the district that have that kind of experience, past district governors. But once you set a date, Alan, then
Yeah.
reach out and one of us is glad, I'm glad to facilitate it at any time you need that. And sometimes it's actually better to have an outside, like, neutral person to facilitate that. Because sometimes, the direction of the club, it's a lot of you guys who have been around a little bit, where the club is going to go is kind of a point of contention, right? Because like some guys want the club to do this and other guys want the clubs to do that. And, to bring in sort of the neutral person is kind of a better way to attack that. So
Yeah,
great.
Emily will back me up on this. I try not to interfere with the direction of the club. So
Okay.
I try to stay in the background, but they won't let me.
Yeah. Well, you're not a background kind of person, so.
Gee, is that good or bad? Thanks.
No, that's a good thing, man. You want to be right there, man. You want to be, Alan, you're the guy that's in the front of the roller coaster, the guy like, hey, I'm not afraid. I can go straight down 100 miles an hour. So, okay, thanks. Lorraine, you have a comment.
We'll reach out to you.
Okay, thanks. Lorraine,
Thank
you.
Thank you. I've been a part of many strategic planning meetings. I mean, inside Rotary, outside of Rotary, at my business, the whole 9 yards. And if nothing else, I agree with the facilitator thing that if nothing else, that you have the recorder who is non-biased that can ask questions, because every single strategic plan has multiple agendas in the room.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to get the squeaky wheel gets the grease all the time. You want to actually have it where everybody feels like they've been heard. And so thank you to Naomi and Benson that you're willing to come in, because that's actually critical to having a buy-in for a strategic plan, is that people feel that they've been heard and that it's consensus or voted or something like that. But if you have nobody who's facilitating it or recording and what have you, then it's just going to be, well, this person, their favorite project is this, and this is exactly what we're going to do because they're louder than anyone else.
Yeah.
So, and that's just, that's 30 years of strategic planning that I've gone through that I've noticed. So it's like, get somebody in there who's not biased.
That's a great point, Lorraine, because that doesn't show up in the slide decks. That when you actually get in the room and you're actually doing it, almost everybody shows up and they have an agenda of some kind, or at least something that's important to them, or even worse, something that they want to make sure the club doesn't do. And so, it can get pretty testy.
The last couple of meetings that I went to they're non-Rotary, so you're off the hook, y'all. But I had a couple of people that were angry about something, and they wanted to make sure that something happened. And it was a very uncomfortable meetings because you got that they were angry, but you didn't get what they wanted. And then when they did get what they wanted, it was so far out in left field because it's like the pendulum just went this way and then it went back. And the strategic plan that it came out of that was like, what the hell did we just do? You know, and it was the good news is that strategic plan ended up as a doorstop. But it was also, we had other people in the meeting that walked away that was, well, that was a waste of my time today.
Yeah.
And it would have been nice at that point if we'd had somebody in the room that was nonpartisan that could actually work it their way through it. So, but thank you for that. I'll get off my soapbox.
No, that's a super good point. And those of us who have done a lot of, like, you know, strategic planning meetings in their career or lifetime know that, wow, you know, it could be a really touchy subject. And then the other piece of it that I've been involved in a lot of strategic plans that they just sort of sit there and there's no you know, action piece of it that keeps the thing driving and that somebody's looking after it. And I know that once we figured that out in our club, that it was really the board's responsibility to sort of drive that, you know, and make sure somebody's looking at it. Because I mean, we've had stretches of 5 years where nobody even looked at it. I mean, it was there, but it's like, hey, remember that strategic plan we did in 2015? So
the other thing that I have is I know that when I go into strategic plans, and this is just a personal thing, that I'm looking at it, and when they start suggesting things, I'm looking around the room like, who's going to be working on this?
yes.
And, you know, there's a lot of, and I'm one of them, not me, not me, you know?
Yeah.
So now we have this great idea, but we've got a whole bunch of not me's that aren't stepping up to the plate. So, you know, if you're gonna put in a strategic plan, you got to have somebody that's willing to sit there going, yeah, I'm going to take the reins. And that's been lacking in a lot of strategic plans of who wants to work on this. And, you know, do we have a committee that can work on this, or are we just going to hand it off, go, oh, Lorraine will do it, no problem. So
Yeah, that's why in that form that I was just outlining, right? So as they go down these different ideas that are coming up, and it has that column that said member assigned, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to be the driver of this? Because, you know, if nobody's willing to drive it, then we may as well just take it off the plan, right? Because it's not really going to get done. And it could be the greatest idea on the planet, but if you're looking around, everybody's like, no, I can't do that. No, can't. Right?
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Agreed.
Oh, hey Dennis, thanks for joining us. That's good. Tina, you had an idea, a thought. That's great. Oh, you're muted here. But this is great. You know, so if anybody has some ideas or thoughts about strategic planning, we'd love to hear them. So go ahead, Tina. You're on now.
Hi, I was actually waving to Dennis. Happy to see Dennis.
Yes.
But I do appreciate the point made about the strategic plan. I did look at it and I have ideas, but I can't do them by myself. So I think it's really important to get the board involvement. Yeah. And I do plan to have a board meeting in April because May is a busy month for a lot of our club members. So I think that's very important to bring to the table and get the feedback and the buy-in from the boards.
Yes, and once the board buys in and the board's willing to do that process and go through it, and you end up on the other side with an actual strategic plan, then you got to get with your club and get the club to buy in and say, okay, hey, we're all behind this. We're all gonna do this. Maybe that's the time where you can start passing pieces of it out. You know, assign different members. They may not have been on the planning committee, but they're willing to, oh yeah, I want to get behind that and I'm going to drive that. So yeah, that's a great idea. So anybody else want to offer a little feedback about their experience in development or implementation strategic plans before I turn it over to Naomi? Okay, now I know this is a process that everybody's gone through before, so so, you know, we all have some background in it, so that's great. Okay, Naomi, I'll pass it over to you. And it looks like we have a good little discussion group right here, so maybe we won't have to break out. We can just hang right here.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's really important to have the members buy in. You know, I've heard stories where, okay, the community service chair decided we're going to do this project, but that was their idea. And so, you know, they don't have people to help with that. So it's really important to include all of the members in that strategic planning so that they buy in and they have their voices heard. So this is a good segue into how to plan the workshop. And so when you look at how to, and this is probably something you already know, but maybe just a refresher, that you want to make sure that you have a goal for this workshop. What do you want to accomplish? What do you want to make sure you got at the end of that day? And so everybody knows what the purpose of this whole thing is and the goal of this meeting, this workshop. You set the date in advance so people can save the date and be ready to be there instead of, oh, I didn't know this was happening, I got something else to do. So you want to make sure that it's a date that most people can come. It's hard to get everybody, but maybe if you have good food or something to draw them, they'll come. Promote the workshop in your club, and then, you know, think about how you can get them to be at that meeting, because you want to gather everybody's opinion. So maybe it's got to be, we're going to carpool. We're going to have people to pick you up or something. And maybe you want to do it on a hybrid, so some people can Zoom in if they cannot be there in person. So who are the presenters? Think about other people who might want to talk about a project or talk about something. So think about if you need other people, presenters, and then who's the facilitator? So exactly that, Lorraine. You know, you want someone who's going to move this discussion, and they're not part of the discussion. So having the president lead this might not be a good idea, because unless you want the president not to have input, and if the president is only wanting to gather information and is okay with not being an active participant in the discussion. Okay, so getting an outside person to be a facilitator might be a good thing. And then that person is not pushing their agenda or trying to sway people on things. And then have a note taker. So someone is writing down all of the thoughts, because it would be really sad if people have good ideas and you didn't write it down. What did people say? Have an agenda minute by minute. Okay, we're going to spend this much time on this much time on that, to make sure that you get through all of the things that you want to do. If you're going overtime on something, just make sure the group is okay with going overtime. You might want to have some ground rules. Ground rules like, okay, this is going to be an equal discussion. Everybody has a voice. Please do not take more than 2 minutes to talk about one thing. We're all going to be calm and resourceful, so no one's going to they know that you don't want people to get mad or anything in this group, that you're trying to do this for the club. And then how's the room set up? Is it set up with all tables spread around, round tables? You want the maximum participation, so look at the setup of your room. And then, you know, if it's too noisy, you want to see, you know, how you can make it quieter. If you have flip charts or a smart board, you know, is it someplace where everybody can see it? So have full participation. Make sure everybody knows that their voice is important, that they're heard, and you're open to any kind of discussion on the topic. And, you know, think about how you're going to get to consensus. Is it majority rules, or is it something that you have to have 100% buy-in? Decide that ahead of time. Honor the time limits, because people come here for a meeting that's a certain time, and you don't want to go overtime if they're not agreeable to that. And then come out with a plan. Who's going to do what? When is it going to be done? Write out the plan, distribute it, and then you want to revise it. You want to update it. You want to see what needs, because it's a living document. It can change with the different circumstances, and next year might be different. But hopefully there's continuity in what your club does. from year to year. So it's good to have the past and future leaders in this discussion. So really important to get full buy-in from the club. Okay, so if I can continue, Benson, on resources. So if you need to find out what resources there are, sorry, you can go to the Learning Center. Lots of courses on the Learning Center. There's things on how to do projects, how to do a community assessment. Okay, and lots of things on the district website. So, Connie has this web page on membership. So all of these different ideas on membership are right there. Okay, so wanted to talk about how you can come to consensus, how you can gather ideas. Who has learned, who knows about design thinking? Anybody heard about design thinking? No? Okay. It's been around a long time, but it's a way of coming to ideas and how to come with solutions to a problem. Okay, so the first thing is you want to do this from the user's point of view. Because if you're looking at a problem for the club, the users are the members. If you're looking at a community project, the users are the people in the community that are going to benefit. So take a look at what you're doing. What is the user thinking about this project or this idea? So have empathy, put your feet in their shoes. Think about how they are looking at it. What are they going to get out of this? And what benefit is it to them? And then you can design your solution to what that is. Okay, so sometimes we think we know what they need, but really they don't agree. Okay, define the problem, and then you develop the ideas. And so the ideas could be this mess of different things. So what do you do to gather these ideas? It could be a flip chart, and everybody writes down their ideas. So you've got a ton of ideas, and then maybe you say, okay, everybody gets a dot. Put the dot on the most important thing, the most impactful project. And then you go by the dots on what rises to the top. And then you build your solution based on what the information you've got, and then you got your feedback. Okay, so that's where you can think about how to get ideas to solve a problem. Okay, so for an adult learner, when you do these workshops, you think about how they need to learn. Not everybody learns the same way. So some people need to hear, some people need to see, some people need to read. So think about how you can reach people in a satisfactory way, because sometimes you just can't do it. But different experiences, everybody has backgrounds on different opinions. So how do you really mesh this all together so you're gathering all of these ideas and you're broadening your arena of ideas of what you can do. So be interactive, be productive, be inclusive. Okay? Questions? Okay, so hopefully that was just a reminder or refresher, but if there were some good ideas in that, I'm glad.
Well, the design thinking, how do you apply that? How do you apply that? Like, what's an example? You did mention something about, oh, they had an idea to solve a problem. So this design thinking, is it meant to bring ideas up to the club to do something with it? Or exactly how do I implement this?
It's for problem solving. So say somebody wants to do something for homelessness. Okay, so you go to the user's point of view. Who's in that arena of homelessness? What are they doing? What do the homeless people want? And Kara, you work with homeless people and you ask them, what they need. You get into their mind and you kind of understand and you're empathizing with them. Okay, so if you're doing this as a club, you would find out what the user needs and then use Post-its. Okay, this idea, we can do this, we can do that, and then vet those solutions and see what is really going to be impactful. What does the user want? So, for instance, if you had a simple thing like club meetings, what do members want? What do prospective members want to see in a club meeting? Okay, so that would be from the user's point of view. If someone comes in and they see a whole bunch of people sitting down and in their own place, and you have the Pledge of Allegiance and you have a prayer and everything is said and nobody's talking to each other, that person coming in, are they getting that good belonging feeling? Are they getting a welcoming feeling? So just taking an issue and
Oh, okay, we're really, yeah, okay.
yeah,
Oh,
and
I
coming
see.
up with a solution.
Yes, yes. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, why don't we take some time and just sort of go around and find out where you are on this process, whether or not you have an action plan, there's one in place, you don't have any action plan, or maybe you have a plan and you don't feel like it's working. What Naomi and I would like to do is just sort of kind of get a status from each of you guys and just to see where you're at and where we or collectively the group might be able to help. So so Katie, why don't we start with you? Tell us kind of where you are on the process. Did you pick up anything today that might be useful to you? What kind of resource do you think you need? Do you think your club is really, they're open and they're ready to do an action plan? Oh, you gotta unmute.
Sorry.
no
I have been taking so many notes. You know, with following Mariko, it's a hard act to follow. So I was looking at our plan, and one of the things I noticed is that the goals hadn't been updated. Like it said service projects like 0 of 0 or something. It was like, no. So I need to sit down with them and remind them, I would say, to update that plan for this year before we can really look at next year's to know what's feasible. I know that we have already talked about surveying our members, and I think that's going to be a great idea because we have our legacy members, and then we have a lot of new members. One of the ideas that I'm trying to do is to get some of the legacy members who are saying, no, I've been doing this office for X number of years, and frankly, I'm tired, is to get their buy-in to do a co-office in order to impart the knowledge that they have to the new member. And just about everybody has said, yeah, I could do that. You know, but the new member would actually attend the board members. But yes, you know, I can stay engaged in that way. Let me go over back in a screen. I never thought about, you know, actually having mainland members because, you know, we do get snowbirds who will come attend a couple meetings. So I thought that was very interesting. The partnering, we have partnered through that visioning where the 90 some projects came up. What we found is one of our strengths is connecting people. You know, somebody would say, well, this is our idea. And then somebody else would have a similar idea. And so we were able to connect. We personally might not be one of the funding people, but it made us feel good that we're still making our community better by helping people partner. So that's where I am on all that. I have a real stiff learning curve because, as you know, I came late to the PE part of this. So
yeah, but you're picking it up quick, so that's great. You know, like Desire does a lot. You know, if you want you really want to do this, it goes a long way. So, Gary, you had a question or a comment? Go ahead. You gotta unmute yourself. Okay. So yet, once I call on you, you get like 10 seconds and then gotta go on to the next thing. Emily, why don't you tell us where you guys are at in the process? Did you pick anything up today that could be helpful, and
Well,
what can we do to help you?
well, we've every year tried to get together with all the members before the end of the fiscal year to set the goals and set some direction. So we've done that. Maybe not written a very articulate plan per se, just a lot of notes. So and we've done it just internally. So I think what would really be helpful if we could have an external facilitator, so that, as you say, there's not bias and people who are more outspoken than others taking the lead. Someone that can make sure that everybody's opinion is accessed and not just those who aren't afraid to speak up. So we're struggling on a date right now. We're probably not going to be able to get that accomplished until June, just because of the time frame in people's schedules. But we're hoping we can get a facilitator to help us navigate that process.
Okay, great one. Great idea. Thanks a lot.
Hey, Dan, now I got
ahead.
to manage to get the Mac working. It's such a struggle on the high tech. I just want to mention, follow up on your social media or public to reach out. I have shared in the chat to everyone that just 2 days ago, I was visiting the Capitol at the gallery, and State Representative Diamond Garcia specifically introduced me as a member of Rotary Club of Kapolei. So Rotary Club of Kapolei on the official record of the State House of Representatives for their general session on March 21st. So just my idea is whichever way we can get the name out, and that would be not only exposure, also a record. But I have a difficult time to directly share videos in the chat. I end up have to run to YouTube, upload it so I can send a link. So everybody can just follow the link, see that very brief video, 26 seconds only. So that's what I want to add to just about outreach. And also I'm heading to Maui on Sunday and going to be there for 3 days. I would hope to connect with the folks at the Lahaina clubs. And I also have a project in my mind. I already have somebody there local that I would reach out in the education and to explore the possibility, and definitely would love to have the local Lahaina club as a part of the project. So just in very early exploration stage, but definitely I want to seriously pursue it.
Okay, Gary, thanks for that input. Appreciate that a lot. Hey, Jay, why don't we go to you guys? I mean, I know you always got something cooking over there on Maui since
Well,
we just got
yes.
what's happening?
Well, at the beginning or the end of last year, I'm Hana Hope president. So last year we did have AG come over and do a strategic plan of what the club would like to do. And then, of course, what happened, a lot of our projects just put to the side. So we have meetings and all, and I, wanted to know what the board felt. So I put out a couple of questions. First of all, I asked everyone to write down, why did they join Rotary? I thought that was an important thing. And the majority of them were for social reasons, and some would help the community. But those were the two, and most of them were social. You know, they wanted to know who would like to join the board. A couple have said yes. I think, but since it was anonymous, I didn't find out who they were yet. We're getting some people in. Our secretary stepped down, but I do have a member who has been a member for a couple of years, but was back on the mainland settling family things. She was willing to step up, and one of our past presidents, and I was going to do like someone, I'm trying to think who said that. Was that Katie who said that they're doing co-officer? So this way that the new member or newer member would have some input, someone to coach her along on how to become secretary, because that's quite a difficult job. It's not an easy job, you know, entering everything to RI and getting all the paperwork and all the minutes and all. So I might keep that way if the board feels that way. We used to have a part-time members, COLA-MI members, and they were big supporters, both monetarily, like we're a very vacation oriented place. People come here for 6 months and all. After COVID, we moved away from the Wailea area, so we're not getting as many, but they are coming back. And our board wants to reinstate that as a Friends of Rotary, if you want to call it that. We were thinking of calling it Ohana members. But you know, they're supportive financially and to do projects. So for some reason they don't want to join Rotary, and they could be joining Rotary here and be on the mainland or wherever they are, whether it be Canada or, you know, the US, and be members there. So we're trying to figure that out. We've been doing Rotary on the Road. I think you saw that in the notes. And we've been getting some I'm asking people to invite their friends, people who are not in Rotary, and we've had a few interests that way. So we're trying to build that up. But as far as strategic planning, you know, we have our projects that we're doing, and they're coming along. One of the new projects, I don't know if anyone else has heard about it. It's Amur Readers. It's been started before COVID, and then COVID, because it's a reading intervention program, mostly for kindergartners who are not up to reading level. And it's a one-on-one coaching program, and we have a lot of people helping who are not Rotary members. And at one of the last meetings, I was almost trying to think if that could be like a satellite club, if they would be interested in it. And their main purpose would be just to do Amur Readers, but to bring them into a Rotary membership. So that's where we're at this moment. All up in the air.
Yeah. Well, good. Sounds like it's moving along though.
Well, yeah, but then again, you ask the members and,
Yeah.
you know, oh, let's do this and this. Well, now let's get, okay, you could do it too. Let's, you know, try to get these members in. There are a lot of, what are we calling ourselves? The older members of the club.
Yeah, we have to come up with a better well, you
Legacy.
know, legacy. Yeah, legacy. Yeah, legacy. But my feeling has always been, if you look at the people that are in your club that are sort of the self-described like lifers, right? They're gonna be there. They've already decided this is a good thing. I'm gonna go down the road with this thing. That's a key element or base group of every club, because they're the people that care the most, and you know, they see that they're gonna be involved in it no matter what. So that's really important thing. So thanks for your work out there, Jay. Vern, what's happening over in Kona Sunrise? I mean, where are you guys along in the process?
Yeah, last year we rebooted our strategic plan, had Laura Steelquist come in, facilitated. She did a great job. We focused our efforts around peace building, and we've had some success this year. We just finished a Peace with Art project with some kids up here in town. We'll get that posted, that information out. It was wonderful. Hopefully we'll get a calendar produced out of that project. And Peace Pulse, we're looking for a peace garden that we'll be building here in Kona later in the next couple months. Right now I've got a session set for April 27th to I guess you could say reformat our strategic plan, because I think it's in pretty good shape, but I'll get buy-in from the board and then just refocus what we have around the new format. I think that's the next goal we have on that with the Rotary Action Plan. And get our goals up to date within that framework. I did like the discussion that Naomi had on the design aspect. I've lived that with the Army. That's how they solve problems. They try to anyway. And focusing on the user, that's so important. I appreciate that. You kicked in some memory things that I've had. So that's about all I've got, Benson.
Okay. Well, hopefully they're good memories, you know, because they're
painful.
Yeah, all that kind of comes up. So
Hey, Benson?
yeah, go ahead.
I want to go back to Kihei. So there's this website called City-Data. And so let me show you the demographics of Kihei. Okay, so this is city-data.com. We took Hawaii and took the city Kihei, and look at the population in Kihei. It's like 20,000, or this is old information, but it was 20,000 in 2010. Okay, kind of even with male, female population, average age 42. So, you got some career people in your community, but it also gives you household information, and you can go to the census data as well. But this one will give you information on how many businesses. So you look at the let me get to the. So this is how many industries you have in your community. So when you're looking for readers, maybe for your project, you might want to look at real estate people, bankers, business people that might sign up as an ambassador or an associate, or even a corporate member. Corporate member is the business is the member paying, and they have one person who is the active member that is listed on your roster. But if that person leaves, then the person who takes their place will be your member, because it's a corporation that is a member. But here you can see you've got a lot of construction companies in your neighborhood. So this is a resource for you to see what your demographics are in your community, to see if you have maybe an industry classification that you don't have in your club, and you might think that they would be useful. So if you're doing construction projects, for instance, finding someone in the construction industry would be good to have as a partner or a member. So that's city-data.com.
Thank you. We've been trying, by the way, to do corporate members, and Al Weiland he's my membership chair, and he's been hitting the wall on that. But and the businesses, there's a lot of small businesses in town. We have a lot of restaurants and so forth, but the owner is also the worker in the place, so that has been a problem. But definitely I'll go that in the construction, and thank you. I appreciate it.
Lorraine, how are you guys doing in Hilo Bay? Where are you in on the process? Are you starting? Are you guys in it? What's going on? You're laughing, so I can tell this is a good subject for you.
No, I'm the lifer.
Okay.
I'm here just because I'm interested. We did have a meeting last year before, or when Brian came in as our president, and we did a strategic plan. And I'm not going to incriminate anybody. I think it is more in our head than it is on paper, because I haven't seen anything on paper. But I do know that we had some people on fire to get some of this stuff done. So I know they're working on it, but I don't have an update on it. And then I know that the president, yay, God, we have the next 4 presidents in line. Yeah,
All right.
really.
Yeah.
Yay.
That's
And they're
great.
meeting regularly to try to figure out what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, and what have you. I haven't been a part of those meetings. So I can't incriminate them, or I'm just saying they're doing it, yay. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where we're at.
Well, that's an important step. I mean, you gotta start it somewhere.
Yeah.
Because like I said, there are clubs who don't really address it at all. And they're just sort of kind of winging it, going along. And from where Naomi and I sit, when we look at them statistically, we can tell. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
I do
all right.
have a question, and this is kind of going towards that corporate sponsorship or corporate membership. I can tell you that as a former business owner, that costs were kind of exorbitant for me as a small business. This was like, holy crap, I can't afford that type of thing. And the business ownership that I had, I couldn't give anything in kind. But could we, one of the things to consider might be is that could these folks provide something in kind in lieu of a membership that they can write it off on their taxes and they can still benefit with Rotary, and it can be a win-win on both sides. I've not seen anything. Be honest with you, I haven't looked for anything like that, but it occurred to me that some of the smaller business owners might be interested in something like that. If there's something that they could give in terms of time and talent, and even a little bit of treasure if it's an in-kind thing.
Yeah, you can do that. It's just that if they're not putting in cash, you have to come up with the cash for their dues.
Yeah, no, I recognize that, but sometimes that can come out of the club coffers, Happy Dollars or what have you. If, I'm thinking the small business restaurant owner might say, I can provide bentos for this, that it doesn't cost us when they do the bentos.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
You can also ask for sponsorships on your website. So a sponsor gets their name on your website and they pay, $1,000 a year or whatever, and then you can get them as a member that way, and they can write it off as a advertising.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Go ahead, Katie.
We just offered 4 scholarships for membership, and how it came up is that there is someone who we asked to come speak. He designed the memorial to the fire victims on the bypass. And he's such a wonderful man. We were like, how can we do this? And so we actually had members that did say, I'd like to contribute to his membership, which brings your club closer together, not just bringing it out of the coffers, so to speak. And then we decided that are we missing out on other members that are like-minded, but at this time, because they might have lost their business or their home, cannot do our dues. And so we did some scholarships, and we have some people who are new business owners. 2 of them are going to be officers next year. So, now we'll see when it's time to re-up, so to speak, what happens. But, the club felt that it was, or the board actually felt that it was worth the investment in these people.
Tina, how about you? Where are you guys in the process? I know there's a bunch of you here today, but what's your thought about strategic planning and, making the action plan actionable?
I'm sorry, are you addressing me?
Tina.
I thought, yeah, okay.
Okay. You gotta unmute. We got you muted there. Try hitting the space bar. Are you on a computer? right. How about we keep working on it? As soon as I see your mic come off, then we'll go back to you. Dennis, you joined the meeting. Got any thoughts?
I apologize for being late. I literally just saw
John?
an email.
John,
No
can you
worries.
help me get this audio
wait.
mute off?
Dina, we got you.
Oh, sorry.
We can hear you now.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But John can still come in.
So I was yelling for John.
Yeah, hang on, Dennis. We'll let Tina, and then we'll go back to Dennis.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, I invited Dennis yesterday because I realized, oh gosh, he should be a part of this. But I have actually gone through my strategic planning on my own. I worked some of it at Pets. I do need to get my board together to go through it, and maybe having a facilitator like you, Vincent, or Naomi might be a good thing to have also, to kind of, give it a third party kind of feel. I have a lot of ideas going in my head of projects and different things that I feel that would be beneficial for our club. We are the Pearl Harbor Club, so our proximity is Pearl Harbor and that area around there. I think we need to get our Interact clubs more involved. We do have Radford and Moanalua High School. Dennis has a lot of great ideas. So I think we're going to have an exciting year. We haven't really had a formal strategic planning since I've been a member, which has been about 2 years. So I think our club would really benefit from that.
Great. Thanks, Tina. And thanks for getting that mute button up. I think you got it. So Dennis, let's hear some of those great ideas, man.
Boy, nothing like getting put on the spot.
Yeah, I know, that's great.
Well, hey, I will tell you, the one thing I was going to say back to Naomi's slides, which were very good, the most important person on all of the tasks that she laid out on that slide is the note taker. Because when all is said and done and the meeting's done and a month or two later you look back, what is written down is what people remember. In fact, taking notes in any meeting is like a super powerful job. Okay, Tina, my mind is totally blank on the ideas, but I think, let me ask a quick question to everybody on this corporate membership. So would a corporation or a business pay a higher due rate than an individual member? I'm just curious.
It's up to the club. You can have a higher rate for the corporate members, or you can have it the same. So it's up to you.
Okay, because that's one thing that we've really never pursued that I can see, and I think that's a great idea. My thought is, if we can keep the rate down, it really doesn't matter. Plus, they get to write it off as a business expense. And the other one that we're looking at is to try to get more military and federal involvement. Like the head of the USS Arizona Memorial, which is the biggest tourist attraction in Hawaii, 1 million people a year. Well, that superintendent that works for the Park Service, he'd be a great member. And having worked for the government, a lot of those leadership positions, you can actually pay your dues. You're authorized to use taxpayer dollars because it's a community outreach thing. So anyway, enough from me at this point, but we're just trying to build our membership. Thanks.
Yeah, that's great. That's great, Dennis. Thanks a lot. So Carol, let's take your question or comment.
I have a question. It was the sponsorship on the website question, Naomi. How does that look like? I'm really curious. How do I pitch it to a potential business to advertise either on our social media or webpage?
So you need to build up a term sheet. Okay, what do they get for a certain dollar amount? So if they put in $500, then you're just going to put their name on the bottom of your web page, your homepage. Or if you put $1,000, your name is going to be on the bottom of the web page and also the newsletter that goes out and Facebook. So you decide what you're going to give them for that dollar amount. And so when people go to your website or your Facebook, their name is going to flash up.
Okay, that's great. Gary, you had a comment? Go ahead.
Yes, I'm just want to add something for the Pearl Harbor Club folks about the corporate membership. in Georgia, what we do usually, corporate membership does pay more, but they got like a 3 members that can be anyone from that company come to the club doing whatever the club thing. So that is one way, because it's not has to be the same individual all the time. They have the flexibility to send their representative different ones. And a lot of companies like that, give them a chance involved in the community.
Okay, great idea. So I want to go back to Dennis's point about the most important person in the meeting is the note taker. And so what I would actually recommend, because everybody sort of has this on their phone, is that you record the meeting just so that you have notes accurately on what everybody said. Now because in my job I do a lot of meetings, so I have one of these things. It's called a Plod Note, and not only that'll give you a full transcription of the meeting, but it organizes it because there's AI built into it. It'll organize it into sections and we prepare a really nice outline for you. So if I come to facilitate, I'll bring this little gizmo and turn it on, and then at the end you have a nice big outline of everything that was said, and then of course who said all this.
What is it called, Benson? What is it called?
It's called a Plod Note, P-L-A-U-D, Plod Note. And it's actually, like I said, because in my work, I do a lot of meetings that are really kind of complicated. So I just turn this little thing on, and not only does it record it, it'll give you a transcription like piece by piece, but it'll also organize it with some AI guys in there. And he's organizing it into an outline that actually makes sense and whatever your priorities are, whatever. But it's kind of a cool thing.
Thanks.
So we're like at the last sort of 3 minutes of our hour, and I appreciate, because you guys have been on like 3 hours now. So this is not something obviously that you take lightly. So any sort of last call type things, questions, answers, comments before we wind it up for the morning?
This is just maybe for Naomi or yourself. I did print up the strategic plan here.
Yeah.
But can I call on either one of you if I have questions on how to fill it out?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. So that my last comment, and I'll let Naomi make the final comments for today, is that whatever format you use for this thing, and there's lots of different ones out there, and I would encourage you to go on and just really put in Rotary Strategic Plan and look at all the different ones that'll come up. And people go all kinds of different ways of doing this thing. Some super detailed and really intricate, some very simple, right? And so whatever version you decide, or whichever way you decide to go, that's totally up to you in your club. You could do it just on a sheet of paper, really simply. But the main thing is, whatever it is you organize, or whatever it is you put it down on paper, and then actually follow it. So give it to your board. And if like a lot of clubs now, they're having a board chair as different than the president. In most clubs, the president is also runs the board. But if you have a separate person, you give it to the board chair and say, all right, every board meeting, that's where you start, is you start looking at your strategic plan and see how you're coming along. And if any adjustments or changes need to be made, you can do it that way. So that's my last comment for today. Naomi, I'll let you close it up and say your final remarks.
Yeah, there was a lot of information, and we really appreciate your attention to this and your commitment to your position. And your club is going to benefit from all of this. So we really thank you for your time, your energy, your talent, for being here. Don't forget to put up your goals in Rotary Club Central or update it for this year and next. Thank you, Tina. You did all of yours, I think, right? Okay. But thank you. Have a good week. Have a good weekend.
Rest of the
Thank
day.
you.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Take care.